Hey everybody, welcome into the Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 200. I'm your host Expat, along with my co-host. We got a full crew in here. The whole crew is in here. My co-hosts, Burley of Burleyman Gaming, Turn-Based Carl, Fubo87, and Leah the Hatless. And my special guest, Lord Cognito, just popped in. Hey Cog, how's it going, man?
Doing good, hanging in. Crazy busy, but couldn't miss the 200. Had to make the 200. How we doing, man?
Doing good, yes. And also my original co-host, my first co-host with me here on the Arena. Him and I, we discussed doing a show back in 2020, and he was all on board with it. My good friend and my original co-host, Dan. How you doing, man?
Not bad, man. How's everyone? Hello. Long time no see.
Yeah, long time no see, man. Going good. And pretty soon, hopefully, we'll be getting Jez Gordon in here as well. So, yeah, looking forward to that. So, So, episode 200, really excited for it. So, Cog, I know you've been busy too, man. So, I'll throw the first question at you. So last week, of course, was the Game Awards. What was your favorite moment from the Game Awards and your favorite announcement?
Favorite moment from the Game Awards? I would say, actually, my moment was not a game. My moment was actually finally getting some recognition as far as the state of the games industry, you know, what's been going on. I know Jeff gets a lot of criticism, and I thought it was fair in the past of not kind of reading the temperature of the room and actually addressing that. So I like the gentleman, I believe his name was Amir, who got that game changer kind of award in terms of helping people who've been laid off in the industry. All that stuff is very important to me. We've lost so many people in the games industry, and unfortunately, the way the climate is, people don't come back. So right, I like that aspect. I believe the gentleman from Larian, his speech prior to the Game of the Year award. I thought that was extremely powerful. It sent out a message to corporations like, hey, we're the creators. You have to do a better job of protecting us, because this is the only industry where I feel like we don't get that protection. And ultimately, I just felt like it showed that gaming was big. I think the views were like as big as the Super Bowl. Like it showed you the medium of gaming right now is so huge, and we need to pay that respect. So those are my non-gaming highlight things that I like the most. As far as gaming, I would say there were so many trailers, man. I mean, there's so many. Surprisingly, RGG's trailer for Project Century, I believe it was like 1914 Japan.
Yeah,
that looked really cool. And they're doing virtual fire. I'm just impressed. RGG is just all over the place and seeing their level up and stuff like that. But there's so many trailers. Those are the couple of ones that I could think off top right now that really resonated with me the most.
Yeah, that one gave me a lot of Sleeping Dogs vibes, I think. You know, that Project Century, yeah. So in the Taisho era Japan, so yeah, I'm excited for that. Looking forward to seeing that more. So Dan, what were your favorite moments of the Game Awards and the game that you're most enthusiastic about that they showed there?
You don't want to know. I don't. I know. Like from when I was on here the first time, to be honest, it depressed me. But none of them, because it was. I couldn't tell you a single game. They all looked the same. They all behaved the same. They were all remakes. They were all CG BS. There was probably about 6 minutes of actual gameplay footage in the entire 4-hour spectacle. Nothing. Sorry.
Not retro enough. I get it.
It's
Not
just-
like in that Ninja Gaiden game coming back.
Yeah, that Ninja Gaiden
That's
was
retro.
good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's,
that's
it's
retro,
been-
man.
Stuff.
We already have that. So I don't know. I mean, yeah. If anything, that one. And yeah, the Yugo game looks all right. But again, we've played it. So I don't know what to say. But yeah, let's go with that. Ninja Gaiden was great. Yeah. Sorry.
All right, we got him. We got one.
We got one. Yeah, that's better than nothing.
Yeah. Alrighty.
And
Okay, so let's go ahead and discuss 2024. I mean, the state of gaming in 2024, and a lot of stuff happened this year. Of course, a lot of layoffs, things like that. Of course, acquisitions. So I want to get your guys' take on what you felt was the biggest, news story, biggest event of 2024. So Burley, I'll start with you, man. What stood out to you the most about 2024 in gaming?
Yeah, well, obviously the biggest story I would have to say is Concord flopping so badly they had to sell, refund everyone. Like, you just don't see it to that level, and we still don't know the official numbers because there's the rumors 200 million, 400 million. We don't know. And will we ever know how much that game cost? And then just getting all the refunding. It's just like, that was just a big. I didn't think the game was going to do well, but I never thought it was going to bomb that badly. Like, I think the peak, it was 2000. It peaked at Steam, which is just so bad for a multiplayer game of that level. And from hearing people that did play it, Tweel, who's in the chat here, said it's not the gameplay is not bad, and it's just nothing to write home about. But have a game come out like that and die within less than 2 weeks, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
Can't forget about that budget that we heard about too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. We sadly we don't know. I want to know, was it because apparently the studio put 200 million and apparently Sony put another 200 million, so it's 400 million plus whatever marketing.
Yeah.
So it's we don't know. I want to know the number, and then I want to know, once we know the number, ask the people, be like, who thought this was a good enough idea to sink 400 million? What were you guys on? How much booze were you on? Drugs? Were you guys just seeing that Fortnite and all these games make how many billions a year and be like, fuck, if we put 200 or 400 million, we'll easily make 600 million in the first year, and then after that we'll just be counting the money and be like, we're in the money.
Yeah.
Has anyone here played it? Just out of wondering. Sorry, I missed that bit. No,
Concord, nah.
it wasn't fast enough, huh?
I remember watching the trailer and the announcing trailer, and I was like, this is gonna flop so bad. I wasn't expecting to be as bad as this one, but I was like, this is gonna be so bad, because we're in the moment of culture that I don't think we're into these blank on the name now, but these monetary games like this where they get the battle pass. I think people are past that. It was maybe 2 years ago there would be a chance, but unless it's something that's really appealing, I don't think it's gonna work out. Mentality of the people just shifted.
So what in the trailer triggered you that made you think, oh, this is going to bomb hard? From that early on, you knew it was going to be a failure.
As soon as I saw live service, that's the name I was.
That's it, just that thing.
Yeah, as soon as I saw live service, no, this is gonna be bad, because again, I'm not into those types of games. I admit it, but even I was in the fever of Fortnite. I played a lot of Apex Legends. I was really good at that game, and then the button for me switched because I have so many other things to play. EAFC, for example, but I switched, and as soon as I saw more and more and more, and nothing appealed to me, and I'm a gamer like all of us here, I'm a gamer, and it wasn't appealing to me. If it's not appealing to me, it's going to be not appealing for a lot of people, because I'm not a very demanding person when it comes to games. I like games, I like to try them, but it smelled funky for me.
Sounds good.
Leah, what stood out for you in 2024?
how fun and surprising gaming can still be. I mean, Wukong came out of the blue and like blew everyone away. Like, what the hell? Astrobot was the game that no one was really excited about, and everyone was blown away and won Game of the Year.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot of negatives, but there's still positive things, and there's still moments of interest that we can find. And I think that makes me hopeful for 2025 that we are still going to have more of these moments despite all the negative that we have. So
Yeah.
that's my take.
Yeah. Carl, how about you?
You know what came to mind was, I mean, Black Myth Wukong, right? And the Chinese game. This is just getting massive now. I mean, that game, I thought it was going to be a big hit because there was so much hype behind it, right? Everybody been following that for so long. But I didn't think it would be selling. I don't know. How many did it sell? Is it 20 million? Is it more? I don't even know at this point. Like,
I think it was 10 millions in the first 2 weeks or something like that. It was something massive.
Insane number. Like, you don't expect that for that type of game. And you got to look at all the other stuff that's coming around there now. Like Zenless Zone Zero had a big hit. Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact still going. Genshin just came to Xbox. Infinity Nikki, which I have played. Okay. My daughter is playing with me. She is enjoying it. She is
nice.
She can fish on her own now, which is cool.
Nice.
But that's another one. Like, you don't really expect it, but this sort of AAA mobile free to play, but also on consoles now and PC as well. Day one, we're really taking over with, and they look and they feel like AAA games to me. Like, when I play, I tried Genshin on Xbox, and that game looks incredible. It performs incredible. Story presentation is great. All right, I gotta mute these kids at the door.
Okay. Carl's kid is invading the space again. So Dan, how about you? Your thoughts on 2024?
Wow, 2024. Yeah. I don't really know. Instead of modern stuff, I find the Wukong thing really interesting. Like, genuinely, that's fascinating. I think this. Are we allowed to talk about the recent kickoff on Twitter? The whole "we should have won because we're the best, China #1" thing. That was exciting. I mean, did anyone think Astrobot had a chance in heck of winning Game of the Year?
I did.
Look.
So
Burley did for sure. Burley did. I know Burley wanted it to win. Yeah. So
we had this discussion, and I said that it wasn't on my Game of the Year predictions, and everyone here got mad at me, like, "Oh my God, sacrilegious! You can't say that."
I was hoping Metaphor would win, but didn't win.
was my choice.
Yeah.
I mean, it was my Game of the Year, but I thought they were going to be a bit more traditional in the choice. So I'm glad they picked Astrobot.
I mean, out of the Game Awards, the only game that I knew, and all of us knew that it was a shoe-in to win in that particular category, was the game that's everybody's waiting for. The game, so GTA 6. That was going to win for sure. So most anticipated game. Yeah. So
surprise.
Yeah.
There isn't GTA 6 should be the proper heading for that. Of course it is.
Yeah. So Cog, how about 2024, man? I mean, what stood out to you the most?
Surprising year. So many things. I'll say the top of the year. A lot of surprises. Like, I know Wukong was one that, again, kind of like what Carl said, which in the sense of like, okay, we knew had some anticipation coming through, but to see the Chinese market really gravitate towards that as big as it was.
Yeah.
Power was a thing earlier this year. That was something that took even Nintendo's attention. From how big that is and how people wanted that. I thought this was an underrated gaming year, because I thought the year before we were like, hey, nothing's going to be able to top that. And I don't think 2024 topped that, but I thought it still had a lot of quality games throughout. So I would say also for me, obviously, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor was huge for me. Indiana Jones coming through at the late end of the year.
Yeah.
Astrobot was a phenomenon. But I think the stories for me, the two biggest stories, I would say, it's kind of like I think Burly Man Game said. One, obviously the Concord situation, right? That was huge. Seeing like, hey man, wow, this is a complete misstep, right? And then we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Xbox's strategy, and I believe the business update that shocked everyone. Like, hey, okay, this is the first time.
God, that was this year.
Yeah, right. We're like, what's this? Well, this is like, oh, there's an experiment going on, 4 games, and we've never seen like the major, out of the big 3 make a decision to say, hey, we're going to put games on the other platform and to see how that's going to go. So I think those are the ones that kind of like, I felt like with the talk of the conversation all year for the most part.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the Xbox situation. So we're talking about, and we're hoping we get Jez in here. I don't know what's up with that, but hopefully he can come in and talk about this with us as well. But yeah, I mean, he came out with an article recently on Windows Central talking about exclusivity, and most likely the era of the exclusive on Xbox is finished. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. And then the Xbox moving forward. I mean, this is an Xbox. I mean, you could play on your cell phone. You could play on your notebook computer. You can play anywhere. So what is the strategy going forward for them? So I'd like to get your guys' thoughts. But first, the exclusivity situation. So we have, obviously, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to PlayStation in the spring. And now we know that the Outer Worlds 2, we saw in that trailer, we had PlayStation slapped on there. So probably day one, it's going to be coming to PlayStation. So most likely Obsidian wants it to go to, the multi-platform, with PlayStation and all. So, I mean, what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of this strategy? And some of the other games, like, for example, Avowed. I mean, is that going to come day one? I mean, what are your takes on this? Cog, I'll go ahead and start with you again on this one. What do you think of this strategy? And when it comes to some of these games coming in 2025, are they going to come day one, or are they going to be timed exclusives like Indiana Jones?
Yeah, good question, man. We are in uncharted territory. So for me, I'm a former Sega kid, so I've been around when my console does not exist anymore. That things go multi-platform. I don't think this is extreme as that, but it's clearly a shift, and they are sticking to it. Obviously we saw the marketing, with this as an Xbox, obviously Jez's article in terms of exclusives kind of being almost, I don't say we're incidental, but I think it's a byproduct of whatever the studio situation is. So let's look at Obsidian, for example. They, even with the Outer Worlds, that was always kind of with Private Division, and it was multi-plat. And it seems like Obsidian seems to be well prepared to be multi-plat. We've seen Pentiment over on all the other platforms already, and I believe Grounded on the other platforms already. So the vibe I'm getting from Xbox is, once they spend $70 billion to acquire ABK, right? You have a whole new set of eyes now. You are no longer this small little startup, part of Xbox. You are now a seat of the table of Microsoft gaming, and you have now Satya Nadella coming outside telling people what redefines what it means to be an Xbox user. So
that hurt. I hated that.
I know a lot of people ain't like that one. So it's like, look, once the stakeholders are involved, you have to provide justification for your purchase in this level of investment. And I think that's what's going on here. The level of pressure for them to produce results. And I think this is the strategy. And we also got to talk about the elephant in the room, which is they haven't been moving consoles over the past couple of quarters. The hardware has been down. So if the hardware is continuing to go down, and you have a strategy where you say, okay, we put games everywhere else, we have this great service, and we can still make money and revenue on games and services, because that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, Satya Nadella's, his pay, his bonuses, everything is tied to that number of games, Xbox game services, and games and services, excuse me. So that's continued up ever since the ABK deal. So I think the way they look at it is, one, it's a byproduct of this is how we're going to have to survive to move forward. And two, I think that the hardest pill to swallow for the console guy, like myself, I'm a console guy, right? All I care about is consuming it primarily there, right? No disrespect to PC, no disrespect to mobile, cloud, all that's great. I like this strategy overall, but my concern is the console. So I think the Xbox core community is like, man, you betrayed us. We were loyal. Like, and then the minute you get the studios and you get the games, you're putting them everywhere. But at the end of the day, as long as they continue to make a console is really what I care about. And I think they will. I think we're in uncharted territory in the sense of this is not like completely Sega. They are still going to make hardware, but maybe it ends up being like, I want to say like a boutique situation where they still make it, but their primary thing is kind of catering to these other audience where they have the most growth. So I think, that's what it is. And that's the article that set everything on fire. And I'll say one last thing about that. Look, I don't have a problem with them putting games everywhere per se. Like, it's not going to affect my enjoyment of the game. The only thing I'm concerned about with the marketing is just that a lot of this is an Xbox, like for example, mobile phone. Yeah, you could do it, but with a caveat. Can you play every game? You see what I'm saying? Cloud, you could do it, but there's a caveat. How's the latency? How's the thing? So I think the vision is sound for the future as far as being able to play anywhere. I think that is the future. I just feel that, in my opinion, the marketing was just a little too early before you have everything implemented in place. I don't have a problem with the future. I just want everything to be seamless so that I could tell someone, hell yeah, you could absolutely do Xbox in full capacity in all these devices and things like that. But that's what I got for right now. But yeah, we're in interesting times right now. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Dan, do you want to chime in on that? Your thoughts on Xbox's strategy?
It's pretty wild. I mean, I've said for ages the whole Xbox day one free games is unsustainable, and it wasn't going to work. And people said it was crazy, and it'll be fine. Microsoft's got infinite money, which is kind of true, but you can't keep tossing billions into a well and hope that something will happen and you'll get this money back. I mean, the Xbox Live Arcade, your Game Pass only works if you're selling Sony numbers. Mm-hmm. And it's 1 to 5 now. Every one PlayStation. Oh no, other way around. Every one Xbox, there's been 5 PS5 sold. Yeah, it's something absurd like that. So, but this is good. Obviously, having exclusives is great. Get them on the PlayStation machines, get them in front of a wider audience, and try and recoup some of those enormous investments. Because you're just not going to do it on the limited Xbox audience. And the phone thing is really interesting because, I mean, that's obviously no one's going to buy this to exclusively use a phone, right? You're going to have an Xbox at home, or you're going to have a PC at home, and like the phone is going to be the last resort, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, well, then why have it as like a little extra bonus feature? I don't get it, but I mean, I don't know. I think the thing that was said about loyalty, like hardcore console loyalty. I get that. I hadn't thought of that angle. That's really interesting. Just being like, oh, you paid $300. I don't know how much they are, or whatever. But now we're going to give it to people who haven't been there from the start, who haven't supported us financially with hardware, but they can play it on their set-top boxes. It's I hadn't thought of that. It's fascinating. Yeah. But what choice do they have when they're just absolutely getting destroyed?
Yeah, and like you would know as well, Dan. I mean, out here in Japan, I mean, they're technically non-existent out here when it comes to the the brick and mortar shops. You can't see it. It's in the far corner. Yeah, why bother? And the thing about Jez's article, he talks about Generation Alpha. Yes. Which is, my son and my daughter's age, and they don't have a TV. They don't have a console. They're never probably ever going to have a console.
No bother.
Why bother? Because, I mean, everybody plays games on cell phones out here. Yeah. So, I mean, Xbox's strategy to put Xbox on a cell phone is a good thing. I mean, if they want to do well out here in Japan.
Yeah. Right. Is it though? I mean, I don't want to play like Halo Infinite on this size of screen, and I don't care. Yeah. You could have an 8K screen this side; it's still going to look ass.
But see, you might not like that, but some kid might be like, "That's where I'm gaming, right?"
I guess if that's your last.
I won't do it either. But
only option, just like it just seems weird.
We will run skids. We were once kids, and we all can agree
Oh,
we
don't get
didn't
me
know
wrong.
better. We didn't
That's
know
true.
better. So kids nowadays, they don't know better.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I got a friend my age who basically only plays Call of Duty at this point. Like maybe he might play
Wow.
some other stuff, and mostly he's playing Warzone. He's not even buying like, the main games anymore. And we went to a bachelor party for my brother, and he was there on the couch, like in downtime at one point, like playing whatever Warzone or Call of Duty Mobile or whatever it was on his phone. And I'm like, okay, like I thought that was weird, but to him it was just like, all right, cool. Like he's just gonna keep doing what he's doing. Wherever he's playing it, he's jumping onto it and he's continuing it there, right? It's the same game that he's playing on the PC or the console.
But going back to what Xbox said about in Japan, when I was there last, PC is ruling all. Like
Yes.
that's
Yep.
utterly destroying the PlayStation now. You've got. It used to be, all consoles and a bit on the corner for the PC and Xbox, but now the PC section is dwarfing the PlayStation and the Switch. No, maybe not the Switch. Switch is still probably equal balance. So having a subscription pass on the PC will appeal to Japanese gamers, seeing as that's the way it's going.
Yeah.
Especially in Japan, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's a fantastic point. If I can add on, which I forgot to mention, which is the part of the strategy that I like and you see inklings of is, for example, like with Indiana Jones being able to play your save data on your Steam account. You're seeing them put games on Battle.net. So as far as them being prepared for a future where if PC is the dominant factor, they're very much equipped with their strategy and the Xbox Play Anywhere kind of stuff, if that takes off.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Carl. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think a lot of the Xbox strategy is about sustainability.
Yes.
Because when you look at, nothing would save Concord, right? But that the cost of that game is so astronomical. What you need to make sure that game is available anywhere and everywhere, so you can have the widest net on that game. And on the smaller scale, if you take something like Avowed, next year, I mean, I feel like there's a decent enough hype or buzz for it, right? People know the pedigree of the studio. I don't know if it's going to sell enough or have enough engagement day one just on Xbox and PC, right? It might, who knows? We'll see, right? Indiana Jones is another example. I really don't think it sold that well, and I'm worried about it. And this is why the PS5 version is important, and Avowed, I feel, will eventually get. It's not going to be day one, but it's going to come. And I have to sort of as an Xbox fan, right, as a person who's loved that platform, who's an old school console gamer who wants to engage in it, just like Cognito says, I have to let it go and realize that if it's going to save Avowed, right, or anything else, right, by putting it on other platforms, I have to care more about the franchises and the games, right? Because if Avowed is going to not be successful financially because of its limited net, right, where it can reach, then I would prefer that I get Avowed too, because it's everywhere, right? That's really the basic thing I have to look at. Even all these right here you're looking at right now, I want all these franchises to be big hits, right? But I don't know that any of them will, and you can succeed on one platform, but it's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah. Great points. Great points.
Burley, your thoughts?
mean-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Leah.
I was just gonna say that Xbox as a console is a very American concept because in here, Xbox equals PC automatically. For us, the consoles that exist are PlayStation, which is huge, and the Switch, which is the new thing that came along. And I think there's a factor here that is accessibility. Consoles are extremely expensive, but everyone has a mobile phone, like a smartphone. And when we're talking about accessibility, price is something important to keep in mind. PlayStation here is $7. The Pro is $700. The normal is $500, and the minimum wage is €800. So not every kid can afford a console. So this strategy for Xbox, I understand it hurts. Is your console? My condolences, but
I'm sorry for your loss.
I really see Xbox as moving forward as primarily digital and studio, creating games and putting it on as many places as possible. Like every, I think we talked about this in an episode this year where I said, well, they're gonna forget about consoles. Like it's not selling. Consoles normally are already at a loss when they produce them. So business wise, it doesn't really make sense to make something that you already lose money and you're never gonna recuperate that money. So for me, like Xbox will be like a studio mostly and a digital like Steam is at the moment.
I want to touch on that. The console's at a loss, right? And I think this is why Microsoft doesn't really care about selling so many consoles right now. Because if you have a loyal base or an active base, right? If you've got whales, right? You're gonna have your whales, right? And then those are your biggest customers. And you're never gonna have like, PS2 numbers of however many, 150 million, units. Like what percentage of that were the whales who were spending all the time, right? Those are the people you really, really care about. Those you have to get them. And now basically those people are your free to play, people. Your Call of Duty's, Madden's, FIFA's. Those are the people that you really got to keep on your platform. And if they're happy where they are on Xbox, it doesn't really matter if there's exclusives or not, because they're probably not playing them anyway. They might see them, but they don't engage with them for whatever reason. So they should, I don't know why. Those are the best. I love that stuff, but I can't make people love what I love. So yeah, I mean, like PlayStation is probably, people like to say like, oh, look, Astrobot only sold X amount of copies, but look how many units they have. The what do you call it? Attach rate's low. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, because you're never going to engage that huge percentage of your base, unless you're Nintendo, I guess, who somehow manages to sell like Mario Kart to everybody who owns a freaking Switch. But that's incredibly rare, right? You're never going to be able to do that. So keep your focused audience there, right? Your whales there, and you don't really have to worry, because if you sell 100 million consoles but you're selling them all at a loss, you're just taking a huge loss. So what's the point of selling more?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Nintendo too, it's going to be interesting. So looking ahead to 2025 in the gaming industry, I think that when it comes to the Switch, we're going to get that Switch 2 announcement soon, because we've been getting so many leaks. So I think Nintendo's going to finally come out and actually announce it and show it off. But out here in Japan, it's going to be interesting the first year, because you have, like Carl was saying, everybody that has a Switch is going to buy a Mario Kart, right? Well, are the people that own a Switch now going to buy the Switch 2 right away? I don't think so, because the Switch 2 is obviously going to be cross-platform, or not cross-platform, but I mean, you can play your games, from the Switch on it. So, but I mean, you have 100 million plus people with a Switch, and I don't think they're going to buy it right away. So I expect the sales forecasts maybe not to be met in the first year when it comes to the next Switch. What are your guys' thoughts? I mean, obviously, I think Nintendo's probably going to rule 2025. When it comes to the console sales, but in Japan, probably it's not going to, sell as much as people expect. And it's going to be more expensive. And that's the thing about 2025. Everything is going to be a lot more expensive. I mean, out here in Japan, the PS5 Pro is like, over $1,000. So, I remember when, Dan, you were out here, I mean, the PS4, when it came out, it was maybe Yonman yen or so, whereas, which is like 400 plus dollars, where now it's like Junimon yen for a PS5 Pro, which is, it's almost $1,100. It's crazy. So, so the cost of gaming is going to continue to explode. So those are my quick thoughts.
No.
Cog, what do you think when it comes to? Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Quick thought.
Yeah.
I have to assume that the vast majority of what they're going to release is going to be cross-gen titles. right?
Cross-gen,
When
yeah.
Switch 2 launches. Like, I don't know what they will make a Switch 2 exclusive because, I mean, you're taking a big risk, right? I mean, if I don't know, maybe you think if you put the next Mario Kart Day 1 on Switch 2 only, you might be able to push a massive amount of units, but you could probably sell a ton more copies of the game if you put it on the first Switch too.
Well, I don't know if it would sell a ton more copies, but that new Metroid that they announced.
That's already announced for Switch. So like that's obviously cross-gen. That's like
Yeah,
your Zelda right now,
that and
it's always
Pokemon
cross-gen.
are confirmed as cross-gen. So
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great question. I mean, I agree with you, man, X-Pac, in the sense that, when Switch, the reason why I feel hardware overall has been declining is obviously we haven't had a lot of those huge games outside of like the college football and obviously GTA that's 6 that's coming that is going to make people buy new hardware, right? So then you have the Switch 2, which again, it's Nintendo, they're coming off their most popular platform. People are going to buy the hardware, but you guys make a fantastic point in terms of this whole cross-generational situation. I think this is why this last gen has kind of, I don't say stayed stagnant, but there's so many people who are still on the older platforms because the games are still cross-gen, right? And I think it's going to be interesting how Nintendo navigates that because to your point, yes, if they put, the new Mario Kart, Switch 2 exclusive, right? You will generate hardware, but will you get the most out of a base that is small at this point right now? You're just starting it up kind of thing with a Switch 2. So it's going to be interesting how they navigate that. I think they're going to be fine as far as software in terms of the cross-gen stuff. And also, a lot of, I feel, multi-plats will be making the platform now. I think, like, for example, we do know based on Xbox strategy that we expect some games to actually be on the Switch 2, I wouldn't be surprised if Kojima puts a Death Stranding, or the original one on Switch 2 to kind of gauge interest and kind of stuff like that.
Or even this Yakuza game,
There's
Pirates in
right?
Hawaii. Yeah.
The only one I care about.
There you go. There you go.
I couldn't care less about the rest. This is the one I want.
Yeah, good old Goro, yeah.
Goro, yeah, it looks so much fun. And and because the Switch 2 will be, more high performant, they're not going to miss out on as much of the ports anymore. So I think third parties, they'll improve there. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm very curious to see how they navigate that first year of trying to develop an install base, but at the same time, you will have to make some things exclusive because you want to drive people to the hardware. So I want to see how they navigate that.
Right. Burley, your thoughts on Nintendo?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Mario Kart, you mentioned it. Like Mario Kart 8 came in the first year of Switch. The deluxe version didn't sell that well when it first came on Switch. Sold a couple million units, which was like nothing. And as the Switch kept steamrolling, and when the pandemic hit, that thing just took off. And then Nintendo did the smart thing of let's release. Okay, it's starting to peak a little. Let's release DLC. They added a whole new track thing that breathed new life and sold them another 50-something million copies of that game. So, like Mario Kart 9, yeah, because there is the rumors that the Switch is going to launch with Mario Kart 9. If you have some features and stuff like that where you can actually run your room and kick people, for the love of God, Nintendo, please do that because it's so annoying with Mario Kart 8. If they do stuff like that and really bulk up and make the online better, you will get people that will gravitate towards the new platform to do that. But there's still going to be people that want to go to the new platform because they will have stuff like they will do a marketing campaign, be like, we know you like Tears of the Kingdom, but yeah, we noticed you didn't like the frame drops and stuff like this. The new hardware, we can get you that stable performance, get you what we can show you what we really wanted to show you with Tears of the Kingdom. And there will be people that have either experienced the game, that want to experience on the new hardware and play it like a brand new game, or the people that have been holding off that were like, I know they're going to do backwards compatibility, and I know there's going to be a definitive edition on the Switch 2. So they're going to try and get those people. I don't think the first year it's going to be selling like it's not going to be like 20 million units the Switch 2, but it will sell a fair amount. It's that library. That's the thing for year one. Like the Switch year one, it wasn't a bad library. Like you launched with Breath of the Wild, and at the end of the year you had Mario Odyssey. So it's like there have been a lot of franchises that Nintendo hasn't done anything with for a while, and people are rumored, okay, we're going to get another 3D Mario within the first year, the Switch 2. You've got the new Pokemon's Legends game coming early, Metroid Prime 4. Yes, it's coming to the Switch, but let's be honest, if you're going to play that game, you're going to play it on the original Switch, you're going to play that on the Switch too. Like that, and Nintendo has shown with Mario Kart, they can pull DLC or put other additions to games whenever, and it will spark the interest and spark sales. Like Donnie mentioned Animal Crossing. They could do another Animal Crossing, just updates for New Horizons on the Switch, but for the Switch 2, and that will send people to go to the new hardware.
Yeah, we're all the kind of people who want to play the games on the best available hardware. But you do have those people who are still playing on PS4. They're still making games for PS4, and a lot of them, right?
Listen,
it's like DVDs.
Nintendo
Like
Switch
who the hell still
came
watches
out.
DVDs? But they sell them everywhere.
Nintendo Switch came out 7 years ago. I was offered the OLED, and it was like day and night. I kid you not. The leap is gonna be so big. Like whoever has the original Switch is gonna get
I do.
the
Day one Switch.
And listen, it's gonna be fine. You know why? Because you're gonna do the transition like you did from the original to the OLED. You get your account, everything is gonna get transferred, and you're good to go. And easiest way to sell a Switch 2, make a new Animal Crossing, make it cute, and it's gonna sell like hotcakes. Like, don't need anything else. Do another cute version for Mario or Metroid or whatever. It's gonna sell. People love, get the casual gamers, get all the Infinity Nickies fans and all of that.
For Dan, it's the simulation games. Yeah.
Go,
Train
and
simulator,
they'll be there.
farming simulator. Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But I think that I personally, I think it's going to sell absolute gangbusters. Because there are people I know, everyone I know has been just waiting for this to happen. The Switch 2. It's like you said, it's 7 years old now.
True, yeah.
I mean, you know, it was janky old tech the day it came out. So we've been using this glorified tablet to play games on for the last 5 years. It's been utterly underpowered. It's not even worth talking about how weak the Switch is, and carried entirely by first-party software. I think as soon as they give you a date, I think it's going to sell absolutely flabbergasted shells. The problem is the cost. Now, did any of you buy that stupid alarm clock Nintendo brought out a couple of months ago?
Alarm? Oh God, no.
No.
Can I share?
No.
Can I share my conspiracy theory with you?
Let's go.
That stupid alarm clock was a test. That was Nintendo saying, how much can we make these idiots pay for things? And everyone who paid $90 for a goddamn alarm clock, you added $1 onto the price of the Switch 2. So, so you're looking at like a $7,000 console. So, you know, well done, you complete tools. I genuinely believe that's what it was, because no one in their right mind is going to spend £90 on a goddamn alarm clock. I think that was Nintendo testing the water. How much can we make people pay for shit? And it turns out 90 quid for an alarm clock is. But if they keep it, because famously they've always been really reasonable. Always. Going back to like the GameCube era, like that was a budget console. That came out $100 and so less than the Xbox, you know, just completely stole its lunch. And the Wii, again, a budget price machine when it came out, comparing against the 360 and the PS3, which was like $150, $200 more than when the Wii came out. I think that's how they do it. And I've heard the same chatter. I've heard the talk of it's going to be like $500. I'm like, that is insane.
I don't think they can.
If they do that, it won't sell
off.
hotcakes. If they keep it reasonable, it'll fly off the shelves. But it'll be nuts.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
here's a game that if it gets onto the Switch 2, it's going to sell like hotcakes. Yeah,
Ooh.
Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
that's
there'll be a broken version for the Switch too, for sure. Yeah, a little.
See, that's a great point that I was just thinking about. Is like for me, Switch 2, what's gonna really sell it for me is third-party titles because I want a portable. Like I have a Switch Lite, and I don't use it because like everything I know I'm playing on it, I know I'm playing an inferior version, and that's not for me. I don't want it. Like so.
For real.
If the Switch 2 can perform well and play all of these games that are missing on it, right, in good performance and looks great on the screen, whatever, right, then that's going to get me to want it because I'm considering like, all right, do I want a Steam Deck? Do I want a Switch? I mean, Steam Deck's probably going to be more expensive. The Switch has to be less, right? Or equal to the lowest Steam Deck. It can't be more. Like, I don't really think people are going to be willing to spend that much. I mean, obviously, like us, right? The real hardcore, but like the Switch sells to a wider audience, a more casual audience, and they're not going to feel they need to upgrade, if they can't, or if they're not getting something of a good value proposition. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it has to go to 499 at least because
Oh God,
the
Please don't.
OLED
No,
normal
please
without
no.
anything. Yeah, it's 319 right now. So if you adjust for inflation, the price, like it could be like close. 400 is gonna be at least 400. It's not gonna be lower than that
No,
for sure.
I wouldn't expect.
So
that.
I could
Oh,
see that
800
being the
Canadian,
launch price.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
But that's again, that's crazy. But like, and Nintendo have a history of like using not massively overpowered tech. So there's already rumors that what's coming out is basically what the heck, the Steam Deck version 1.5.
Right.
Anyway, it's going to be not a million miles away from that anyway. So they can't charge $500 for a. Now that's a 3 years old now, the Steam Deck. So a tablet PC from 3 years ago, they're going to at least next year for $700, whatever, $500 to go to $700. I don't know. Let's keep it cheap.
and they don't
Here you
like to sell
go,
at a loss
Dan. Here's
either,
your
right?
Metroid here coming.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry, people saying stuff. Sorry.
Dan's a big Metroid fan. So
Oh my god, yeah. So excited.
Switch just needs a lot more RAM. That's kind of, I think, the reason why a lot of games just cannot be on that platform.
Yeah.
Sure.
But something like
4 gigs of RAM's way too low.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Persona 3 Reload and Metaphor ReFantasia, like those games should be on Switch, but and they don't seem on the surface like they couldn't run on it.
Right.
But I guarantee you, it's the RAM that just makes it impossible.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's talk about games that you think might get delayed out of 2025. Could GTA 6 possibly get
Get out of
delayed?
here! I don't want to see you in 2025.
I'm with you. What we saw at the Game Awards, all the games is coming in 2025. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Let them breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of those games, COG, won't be even coming in 2026. It'll probably be like 2027 or beyond. I mean, I'm thinking that Naughty Dog game is probably 2027, probably the very end of this generation, and then it'll be a cross-gen game, so. Yeah, I don't know. 2025, man. Assassin's Creed Shadows, I think it's going to make it, but
Well, it has to.
it has to now.
It has to now.
It has to now, yeah.
Just send it now. Make it quick. Let's
Yeah.
send it to its steps
Alright.
quick.
What if I said Ghost of Yotei?
Give us your time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
Probably. Yeah, probably. That's a good one.
I wouldn't be surprised because that we're not expecting till fall. And if the rumors are true that GTA 6 is going to hit around fall, you don't want to be anywhere near then. So you know what? You go. It doesn't matter. You can release a game January or February of the next year and still be a big game and still get talked about and win awards and stuff like that. So if it works better to for them where they feel they can sell more copies and not get trampled on, yeah, do it then.
Absolutely. Yeah. We all know the
Fable.
elephant in the room is GTA. And I
Yes.
think companies know the elephant in the room is GTA. And I think you kind of got to be in a holding pattern. You have to wait and find out when they drop, because it's a two prong attack, because I remember the last GTA wasn't like the single player, and then there was a staggered release of the multiplayer with a couple weeks back, which is another megaton bomb. If you're a game coming out in 2025, you have to wait until the dust settles, until you know for sure, especially if you're in the fall, or when they are planning to release. So yeah, I agree. It is, you have to be very careful, very careful.
I think the only game that's going to go head to head with the GTA 6, and assuming it's going to be another version, it's the next Call of Duty, when usually they come out at the same time, and it has a very big following, and there's people that just want to play the new Call of Duty. I think that's next year around that time. It's probably the only game can go face to face with GTA 6 if it comes out on the fall season. Nothing else. I think it's gonna win. As we're assuming, obviously, we're saying it's gonna be the greatest thing ever, but it could be bad. But we're building up in our head the hype. But we are assuming and we are hoping it's going to be that crazy of a good game. And again, Call of Duty, it's the only thing that I can see next year, unless something crazy happens, because this year no one was expecting Helldivers to be the hit that it was, and was a massive hit. Came out of nowhere. Metaphor, another one. Black Myth Wukong was a massive hit. That person wasn't expecting, but Carl was expecting. There was some hype behind it. So what we're seeing next year, there isn't a lot of hype for many games. There are few, like Ghost of Yotei and GTA 6, but like we said, I think Ghost of Yotei, I agree with Carl in the sense that I think it's going to be delayed for 2026. Yeah, that's. I think next year it's a GTA game, and it's going to be a good one, and that's what we are hoping, at least.
Yeah, and that game we just showed, Rise of Hydra, Marvel. Yeah, that's who knows if that's going to come out next year. Yeah, well, it's supposed to come out next year, but yeah, I don't know if it'll probably be delayed, but yeah. So
Fable is one that I worry about. We haven't seen that much of it. What they've shown us, they said, is gameplay, right? But it's like in the loosest sense of the term. Maybe we'll see in January if they do another developer direct. Maybe we'll get a deeper dive, or they could do the thing like that'll be the summer showcase deep dive game, right?
Yeah.
That's possible. But again, I want that game to be a big hit. I want them to nail it. So like, if they have to delay it, like, I'm not gonna really be upset about it. I'll just be disappointed I don't get it sooner. But that,
Who's making the new Fable? Who's making it?
It's Playground Games, the developer of Forza Horizon franchise, and they built a whole new team.
Okay.
This was a long time. I think it was like 2017 when we first heard that they built another team, that they were starting to build up something. They didn't tell us what the game was. We had no idea at the time. So it's been a very long time. So it's certainly possible it's ready, right? And we know they have a pedigree for games, the game that releases in a quality state, right? And they do know what they're doing with open world. Just will any of that translate to a completely different style? I don't know, but I think they do have a very talented team that can do that. Like, we have seen, I think the one example I like is always Guerrilla Games, right? Going from Killzone to Horizon. I think incredible what they pulled off with that. You wouldn't have expected they could do that.
yeah.
Do we know what they're working on now? Because I guess they're done with Horizon, right? There's not going to be a Horizon 3, is there?
No, there is.
Way more Horizon.
Yes, there is.
Oh, geez, the second one was so boring.
They're making a.
Oh, really?
I know. I didn't like the second
They
one
got
that
about
much.
3 hours in and checked out. It was so tedious.
Man, do you know that they're
happened.
making like an online multiplayer Horizon game?
Oh, there's the rumor that is, yeah.
Unless like
That's what I miss so much about Dan being on the arena, man. He just says it like it is for what he thinks, and I love that. I mean, it's that's when we came up with the concept of the arena. I mean, it's like, anything and everything goes. I love it. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So
I love Horizon
yeah.
1. I haven't played the sequel yet, but now that I have a PS5 and I have
One
a
was
code
so
for that
amazing.
game, I'm
Yeah.
planning on making sure I have time to dedicate for it. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, but they are making a third Horizon game.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yep.
I'd be surprised if they ever make another Killzone. I mean, I would,
Yeah.
love to see one, but yeah, yeah. So, what other things about the industry do you think we're going to see? I mean, we're going to see more handhelds at CES. We're going to get some new handhelds, of course, and Valve, and I mean, other things about the industry. I mean, like when it comes to acquisitions. I mean, we just got the news about Sony and Kadokawa, of course, that went through, and Sony and Bungie now supposedly are making a bigger relationship with one another to move forward. So your guys' thoughts on the industry as a whole? Are we going to see more massive layoffs this year? I mean, hopefully not, but what do you think, Carl?
Man, I mean, there will be layoffs. I'm assuming, but I feel maybe we've reached sort of like the edge of like the bigger ones. I mean, there was that. It's just been a huge adjustment since the COVID boom, and that very much winding down.
Yeah.
Now you've got all the AI stuff coming, and there's a chance that could impact development, like the need of certain types of employees, but it
and voice
on how
actors and actresses as well. So
that all depends on how it gets utilized. Studio closures, of course, keeps we keep seeing that stuff too, because it's just such a competitive market, right? You're gonna see that stuff. There's thousands of games, honestly, every year. They can't all succeed, right? It just doesn't work. Yeah. So acquisitions, I don't know. I also feel like that's kind of hit its peak. Like there will be, of course, some, but I think you got to look at the industry is definitely in a place where it's not growing as much as it was. So like, why are you really gonna try and acquire so much more at this point? I know everybody's like, Microsoft should buy Sega. I'm like, dude, just slow down. Like, come on. Like, I don't know who that's really going to benefit. Like, Sega's doing great on their own, I feel, right now. Like, why would they want to do that? Unless it's just shareholders being greedy and just wanting money, which, sucks. I hate that.
Could you ever see Sega ever making another console?
No, why?
Getting back into the hardware market. I don't see it, but yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There's no point.
Do it.
You know what they should do? Okay, if Microsoft does this thing that's possible, rumored, right, where they're going to have other companies make consoles, right? Kind of like the Windows, like in OEM stuff and all the handhelds now, right, out there that are made by all these other people. If they can make an Xbox OS system of their own, then maybe Sega partners with some company, right? And they brand one as a Sega Dreamcast Xbox, whatever. Like that would be fun. It'd be a cool thing. Like, I would want to buy one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes to the Xbox handheld that they're supposedly working on, I mean, a lot of people are saying that's a long ways off. Well, they should probably think about getting it out soon with all these other handhelds coming into the fray. I mean, so because everything's going to be so saturated. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would that look like? Sorry, go on. Sorry, after you.
I'll be quick. My thoughts on all that is that, like, I think they want to do it as soon as possible, but I really think it's going to be tied to the next gen strategy, what the OS is going to look like, right? What they're going to allow to run on that. Is it going to be more Windows based? Are we going to have other, Steam, storefronts on it, right? And because it's going to take a lot of work to make that software run properly, right? You want that to be a good experience. If you put that out now, it's half baked, you're dead.
I don't know. I've heard just rumors. I guess you guys listened a bit more about this than I did, but what would a Microsoft handheld be? I mean, first thing that pops into my mind, it's going to be a screen with a Wi-Fi connection, and that's it. Everything's going to stream to it, right? Or are we talking like a? I'm not trying to troll. Or are we going to have like a Steam, like a really fancy Steam Deck, like a $500 handheld. It's going to have like 2 terabytes in there. It's going to have 16 gigs of RAM. It's going to be, where do you think it's leaning in this sense?
Well, I think definitely leading more native as opposed to cloud being like the only option, so to speak. Because it seems like they've been definitely paying attention to the handheld space ever since I know the ROG Ally. I was there for the ROG Ally's debut, and to see a Microsoft representative at their debut press conference was very interesting to me. So the first thing I noticed is Game Pass being native, downloadable to the device, where you could actually play your games digitally. Also, what you see them experimenting now is outside of Game Pass, like games like Baldur's Gate or just games in general, where if they're like Metaphor, for example, is a Windows Xbox Play Anywhere game. So you can play it on PC, you can play it on, you continue your data from console to PC, and I'm assuming with handheld. So I think native definitely one. I think what Carl led to is the second thing, where I think because of this strategy of anywhere, they're going to probably allow multiple storefronts. So maybe the Steam, Epic Games, so you could have the store whatever and play whatever version or every storefront that you want and play that game on any version. So I think that's something that they're looking at. And the key is going to be price, because obviously this could be pricey. ROG Ally is not the cheapest bit of hardware, but if they could get that sweet spot between performance and then price, they've got a shot. But I agree with you, Expat. They've got to get out soon, because obviously Switch is coming, right? The rumors are PlayStation is potentially flirting in that space, and I think it would be detrimental for them to be last to come into the space. So I think they got to get moving. I'm hearing rumblings. I don't know how true they are, but I'm hearing rumblings that they may have a presence at CES. As far as I don't know if they're talking about it, but Phil has been flirting about handheld and how he loves it for the longest. So to me, it's definitely coming. The question is going to be when, Carl. It's like, is it something as where they do another SKU, which I doubt, or is it something that they package as part of their next generation strategy, where you have the new console and you also have this mobile device? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, can you just imagine PlayStation coming out with another handheld and just calling it the Vita 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing, I think we're gonna see your Steam consoles next year, and that's gonna be really disruptive.
Very much so,
because the Steam Deck is awesome, right? I don't even have one, but the idea of it is awesome, and the capabilities of it is awesome. So if Steam is going to make a console-like version of that could be incredible. Because you're going to get PlayStation and Xbox games on there right away. Yeah. You'll have everything, and you're going to have a controller. You're going to have that UI, the fluidity of the Steam Deck, right, on that system. It's going to feel like a console.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And the advantage Steam has, at least as a person that owns the deck, and I love the ROG. I like the Ally better, but I have to admit, the Steam Deck's interface is way more user-friendly. It's way more intuitive just to get into it. And that's the thing Xbox also is going to have to, when they do their handle, they'll have to conquer that hurdle, which is you need that handheld, that user interface to kind of simulate how a console is. The problem with the Ally is it's basically Windows 11. And for people who are not tech and oriented, just to get to the game is too much work. It will perform better, but you need something that's easy and simple. So that the advantage that Steam has is that UI is so simple, it's so quick, it's so easy. Find your games, the way your games are categorized, very simple. And people like Steam. They're very performant. Let's be honest, the Steam community is so loyal. They don't want to buy a game on another storefront. They don't want to play it anywhere else. They want the Steam version. They tend to have the better updates, even more so than Windows 11's games and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I agree with you, Carl. They could be very disruptive if they get a price point and they get into the market, because they are literally the recipient of everyone's games. PlayStation's putting their games there, as well as Xbox is putting their games there.
Yeah, I mean, they dip their toe into the hardware, and they are definitely. I cannot imagine they aren't selling those things at a loss, right? There's no way the Steam Decks aren't, right? So it's a subsidized thing, just like a console. So they should be able to come in at a lower price. Now we might see them allow other people to make it, right, as well, using the Steam OS. I'd love to just be able to install Steam OS on my desktop, right? Right here, like a dual boot, so I could jump right into that and see how that plays.
Well, you can. They have made the Steam OS. They have made that an actual Linux ISO you can grab
Oh yeah, okay.
and install it. Yeah, it's for PC hardware. It's been getting better, but it's still not fully there. Last I checked, that was months ago.
Is it like the Steam Deck? Like I want like the Steam Deck like interface sort of idea.
It's pretty much last I checked 1-to-1
Okay.
on thing. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Valve does the Steam machine again, but because now they have Steam OS instead of using.
Right.
Back then it was Windows 7, and it wasn't.
And it's Proton. That's the difference because that allows that system to run every PC game. Like okay, every Windows-based PC game.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the whole thing. You get everything. Come on,
Man, showing this footage of GTA 6, man. They should have just called it Vice City 2. I mean, God, that Vice City was my favorite, GTA game. I can't wait to get to this. I can't wait to play this. So excited for it. So
On the Xbox handheld.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Why do you think this is? Because historically, we've had the handheld races, like about 3 of them, and we've always learned that Nintendo rules, and everyone else just gets destroyed. Link's Game Gear historically way better machines is destroyed by the Game Boy. We have things like the PSP and the Vita destroyed by DS and 3DS respectively. Why do you think everyone's trying to get in on this? What's been the trigger? What is this a reaction to? Do you think? I think if I can let out the loop on this.
I think it's because I personally think it's because Nintendo itself. They dropped the 3DS because if they have a hybrid system like the Switch, they are not heavily invested in the handheld market like they used to be before because they had the Wii and the Wii U and they had the DS and 3DS. They always had a separate market. Then they joined. And it feels like there is a lack of something in the handheld department. And they're trying to take advantage of that lackness, if that's a word, but they're taking advantage of that. But if they try to do that, Nintendo just needs to sneeze and saying that they're going into the handheld market again, and no one will care about an Xbox or even a PSP2, whatever. They won't care because I think Nintendo is the ruler when it comes to handhelds.
For sure.
Well, I think it's more because everyone's loving this hybrid market with the ROG Ally, the Steam Deck, and all these devices. You can take them anywhere and play. Like I take because I go around to a few different places throughout my weekend time, and it's nice. I can just pick up and play with the Steam Deck. I can play it in handheld. I can put it on a USB-C dock, play it to my TV. I'm not limited with it, and for a lot of these devices, like in the case of, I love my Steam Deck. It's portable, other than the battery life. I think it runs great, and I can run games like modern games. I can run classic games. You can even, if you want to, put an SD card and run emulators easily. Like you can do what you want, and you can, if you sideload into the thing, like you can install a browser in there and go do the Game Pass cloud streaming. Like I'm not limited with the device. I can do multiple things, no matter whether I'm playing to the TV, playing in handheld. I'm not limited. I have because I've been buying stuff on Steam for years. I have that giant library, and it's just great to I can go with it because, as Cog said, the UI on Steam OS, it's perfect. That chef kiss. There's not a thing I'd change on that. Like,
awesome.
They have it working so well. They have if you can think about it, you can do it on there pretty much.
Yeah.
No,
I would say there's the hardware capabilities, right? Because it's always been a dream. Like for me back in the day, it was like I wanted a laptop or whatever, like a small thing, like not a big one, right? That could run games that I want to play on my console or my big PC, right? And now we're there, right? Because even if you look at, PlayStation is dropping all their games on Steam, and then those games run on Steam Deck, right? And I don't know if they run incredibly well, but they're playable, right? And if you adjust the specs, you can get them to a point where I'm sure it's a good enough experience. I mean, you have games that are like PS5 only that are on Steam now that run on the Steam Deck. It's the dream. Like, it's what we always wanted, the handheld to play all the games that we could play anywhere. Right?
Yeah, I agree. High performant, and the fact that because the requirements of a 720 screen, you can tinker with the resolution, so you could still get a lot of the frame rates and things you want. But to Dan's question, I think a lot of it also is a lot of these companies are seeing obviously the success of Nintendo Switch in this space, and also we got to be honest about the elephant in the room as far as the overall console market, right? A lot of reason why everyone's kind of trying to go to PC and trying to go to mobile is they want more users, and they look at this as another avenue to get maybe a demographic of users that may not always get a traditional console or like the Nintendo Switch and want to play their games on the go. So I just think it's just spreading your wings, trying to get as much people into the ecosystems as you can. I think that's why both companies are really trying to explore this as well.
Yeah. All right.
All these people in chat, sorry, I'm just going to hijack this second. All these people in chat, like, we've got proper people, proper gamers here. We've got GB, DS references, GBSP, is what we like to see, native play of PS1, PSP on Portal. Yeah, proper gamers on here. This is lovely. Yeah, nice. You're all correct. That's what
nice.
Yep.
Nice. Well, speaking of that and retro gaming, so that is something that Dan's speciality.
Gaming.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about that. I'll start real quick with you, Cog. When it comes to remakes and remasters, when it comes to like a retro game that you would love to see either remastered or remade, what can you think of?
Well, some of my dreams are already coming true already. So I'm seeing a lot of stuff. Obviously a huge Sega kid. So to see the things that they're doing in the space with a lot of my classic franchises, obviously Shinobi's coming back, which is, part of my namesake and the whole ninja craze. I know they're doing Streets of Rage and stuff like that. Man, there's so many games. I mean, obviously we saw, Ninja Gaiden, right? Just recently, being kind of remade and stuff like that. So I'm kind of getting what I want already. like a lot of this stuff, but obviously it's still so many. I think about Maddie with like obviously KOTOR. He's a huge fan of that, and the Fallout stuff like that.
Hello.
Hey, lady.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Sorry if I'm late or anything.
No. You're right on time. No, right now we're talking retro, and then we're gonna get into Atlus right after that. So yeah.
Great. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
and congratulations. Happy 200th. Episode,
yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah. So Lady Virgilia, she is a YouTuber, and she specializes in videos pertaining to Atlus and of course Metaphor, Refantasio, and the Persona series.
Game of the year.
Love Metaphor. Yeah.
Game of the year.
Nice. Yeah.
Same, mine too.
That's mine for sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it for me, X-Factor.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So Dan, what do you think? I mean, what kind of forecast can you see for 2025 when it comes to retro gaming in general, and then some possibilities for remakes and remasters coming our way?
I think the thing I'm looking forward to most next year, because it's next year, isn't it, is Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta. That remake is going to be pretty awesome. I'm very excited about that. And they've already announced, was it Blue Team have announced they're already talking about remaking Silent Hill 1 and 3. So hopefully any sort of news on that would be pretty freaking special. So yeah, I think so. But I don't know how niche this is, but in terms of retro, something really cool happened this year. So for a long while, there's been something called the Mister. Has anyone heard of the Mister? It's an FPGA based emulation machine. So basically, now if you have your Raspberry Pi, or someone mentioned in the comments they have an Evercade, that's software emulation, which means you have your operating system, you have a layer of code, and you have the game you want to run. So if you want to play Mario on your laptop, you have a software emulation. FPGA is hardware emulation. It literally, you've got a chip, an FPGA chip with field programmable gate array. There's a chip you can make a thing as any other chip, and it's awesome. So now you're literally playing the games as they were made out then. This has been really expensive. It's been about £400, $350 to make one of these. But this year, something awesome happens. A guy named Taki Udon made one of these. A Mr. Pie. Stop flickering. It's awesome.
Cool.
And it's like 150 like pounds or $150-$60, and it's awesome. So I think we're going to see this model of playing the classics being much more adopted next year. That's my reckoning. And we keep seeing, especially in the UK, I'm not sure if they make it overseas, but like in the UK, we're getting inundated with little mini consoles of things. Like 2-3 weeks ago, we had the ZX Spectrum, which probably means nothing to you international people, but to the British, that's ridiculous. Right on. That was like the modern games industry would not exist if the ZX Spectrum hadn't happened. That's it. It's a fact. It just wouldn't exist. There'd be no GTA. There'd be no Consoles Wars. There'd be none of this. Nothing would have happened. We would have trotted along and got where we were. So I think we're going to see a lot more of these. I'd love. It's never going to happen. Nintendo have already said there's not going to be an N64 Mini. There should be, but they're not going to do it. The head of Sega, I think Western Sega, has said we're not doing any more mini consoles, which means that there's no Sega Saturn Mini coming out. There's no Sega Dreamcast Mini coming out. So all the cool stuff's not going to come out, but you're probably going to get like more Atari 7800 Plus came out this year, some more old Atari hardware. So I think we're going to see some more mini consoles. And yes, if you're a fan of Evercade, then you know we're going to have pretty like a Neo Geo style Evercade system coming out. So that's cool. So yeah, lots of cool stuff next year, I think. And loads of remakes. Personally, I would love a Siphon Filter remake because I love the Siphon Filter games on the PlayStation 1. They're so bad, but like if they were remade, that'd be sweet. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes, Burlyman Gaming hardware emulation is great. It is the best.
Well, that's the thing. Like we've got early 2025. We have Analog. They're doing N64. They're making their own.
The Analog 3D. Yeah, exactly. A N64 native, put a cartridge in there. It's an output of 4K. One more thing. Can people stop saying everything's gonna be in 4K? Like when you release a retro console in 4K, it means literally nothing. It means nothing.
True.
It looks the same. The picture's just bigger. You're not going to have an N64 and all of a sudden it's going to look like friggin' that Unreal 5 version of Ocarina of Time. That's not going to happen. It's a bigger picture. Stop saying everything's 4K. It drives me mental. Sorry, continue.
Okay. So I got this question for you, Dan, because you're the retro guy. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to make an analogy, then I'm going to go to the question. If you have a classic car and you paint it over with a new color, it's still a classic car, right?
That is right. Absolutely.
If you get a retro game and you paint it over with not brand new graphics, but same design, but better image, some quality of life changes like controllers, do you consider it to still be a retro game, or is it a new game?
No, I'm not a purist like that. I don't worry. Yeah, I think it's not a new game. I'm all for quality of life because back in the day, no one knew what they were doing. There was no agreed. Like now everything's very uniform. Everything's homogenized in gaming now. There's going to be a tutorial stage. There's going to be button prompts. It's interesting. We've done away with manuals now, which means you have to have this whole exposition dump at the start of games now. Because back in the day, you bought your game, you read the manual on the bus home, whatever.
Yeah, and you went to electronics boutique and you bought the gaming magazines and the the manuals and stuff like that. Yeah, miss those days.
Now you have this uniform approach to games now, which all games have. So you have to make allowances. I was playing. Has anyone played the System Shock remake? The System Shock remake is really interesting because System Shock 1 came out in '94. And when you bought that game, you would have had a manual that thick with it in the PC box, in the big PC box, the size of an A4 box, a couple of inches thick. There would have been a bloody great manual in there. And it would have had exposition, who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it. Yeah. And when you play the System Shock remake, they didn't account for that. So when I played it, I'm like, who am I? What the frig am I doing? Where am I going? It was really disorientating. And I was like, because we don't have that anymore. That initial exposition dump provided by manuals in the box art and magazine reviews, we just don't have it anymore. So So when we modify old games and replace those things for the modern audience, I think that's super cool. So yeah, it's a good, and the originals are still there. You can go play them. Most of them that's been taken down. But yeah, it's wild how we're having to make these changes to make it more appealable to modern audiences. But I totally get it because, yeah, like I said, some games just were awkward about them. So yeah, good question.
Yeah. And just to make it clear, I'm not talking about Final Fantasy VII. That is not a remake. I'm talking about Little Big Adventure. Okay, I'm talking about Little Big Adventure.
Oh,
I
Little
thought
Big
you were
Adventure.
asking
Never played it.
something like
You-
Resident Evil, the director's
Oof.
cut, for example.
Yeah, no, that was solid. Also, I love those remakes. They've been so good because they have been oddly, except for 4, but the remake of Resi 2 and 3, the modern remakes, have been great because they've nailed it. They've kept the spirit and the atmosphere. And I think where they went wrong is 4, because 4's wasn't as good. 1 and 2. 2's a masterclass in how you bring an old game to the modern audience. It's absolutely pitch perfect. There's nothing wrong with it at all. 4, they got wrong. 4 is stupid camp. It's a B movie. You're playing a B movie, and they took all that out and made it super serious. And the remake of 4 kind of sucked for that. I don't know. That's the only misstep I think in the recent one. They should keep the spirit and the tone of the originals as well when they bring these things forward. It was kind of sour, and they took all the humor out of it. So yeah, still good.
Hey Dan, can that Mister thing do anything for Sega Saturn?
Yes, it can. Flawless. It's
Oh,
nuts.
that's awesome.
It's anything
I love
from 2600 VCS up to PlayStation 1, frame accurate, cycle accurate. It's like you're playing the machine. It's
nice.
It's
See, that's something
Saturns on
that
there.
Xbox is what games I want to come back. I mean, there's so many games on the Sega Saturn that are just lost to time.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's just
They
no
never
way to
bothered.
access them.
Nope.
You know, I have my Sega Saturn. I have actual physical copies still of several games that I love, right? But I don't know that anyone's ever going to be able to experience those things again. I mean, Shining Force is one of my absolute favorite franchises.
Amazing. Yeah.
And Shining Force 3 is probably the best in the franchise.
For sure.
And nobody's played it. And on top of that, outside of Japan, nobody's played Shining Force 3 Scenario 2 or 3, which are basically entire full games added on to that game. It's like, give me that remake or remaster compilation of all 3 of those. That's a dream game. I don't know if anybody else wants it, but that's for me.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The software library for the Saturn, like you think in Europe, what 10 games came out for it, roughly, like because it bombed hardest over here. Like man alive, it was brutal. So like 15 games came out in the UK. I'm not being serious. And then you look at Then you look at the list of Japanese Saturn releases. Like, God damn, that thing did well. That thing had legs. Like, there are hundreds and hundreds of games for the Saturn that were in Japan only. It's wild.
Yeah. I think it's just crazy in general that like on this topic that the PlayStation 2 in comparison is not as retro, but like when you think about how long it's been since it came out, it is sort of retro in its own way now too.
Sure.
And it's just like sad that so much of that library as well, like there's so many stores that are like just taking it off. Of like you can't even digitally purchase it even, and they don't sell physical copies anymore. So then it's just like, so what are you like? There's no other way to do some of this stuff, but again, like emulate it because they're not giving us any ability or like option.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's really sad.
And fortunately, the emulation is getting really, really, really good. Like RCPX, whatever it's called, the PlayStation 2 emulator we're getting pretty rock solid. It even runs on a Pi now. Pi 5 will run PlayStation 2 games quite well. So there's hope in the emulation soon, I think. But I mean, you're absolutely right. If you want to buy these things legitimately, this is what annoys me. Everyone's whining about piracy. Piracy, you're stealing. Great, steal everything. Steal all the stuff.
All the stuff.
I want to give, like, Sony, I want to give you my money. Nintendo, I want to give you my money. But you're like, we're going to keep these ROMs in a vault somewhere. It's like, well, I'll get it for free.
Right.
I get it.
Exactly.
It's a strong argument.
Sony should get some credit for putting a lot of, like, now they're putting PS1 and PS2 games
With Trophy
on
Sport.
PS Plus. But on top of that, you can just buy them outright too.
You can.
Digitally, right?
Good.
You don't have to. You don't have to have the service. And PSP games as well. They're putting on there. So like, I love that.
There are definitely some. Yeah, that's true. But some, it's just like some publishers for some reason don't put their games like up in the library, and it's just like why
They want that money for themselves,
why?
right?
Yeah, just why?
Well, I mean, speaking of Atlus, right? Atlus put out that survey like a few years ago where they're asking everyone about like, what games do you want to bring back? What do you want to remake? Would you like to play a remake of this Persona game, that Persona game?
Yeah.
And then Persona 3 Reload came, and it's very obvious that they're like, all right, we're just going to start pumping out, our old library. And I'm happy. I want to play those games because I didn't get into Persona until, honestly, Persona 5 when it came to Xbox Game Pass. And it's sinful that I missed that when I was younger because I would have probably absolutely loved those games. But
I think that's awesome. You got in, yeah. However you get in.
And
for me, Persona 4 Golden on the Vita. That sold me. Yeah,
that's
sure.
Where I played 5 and then I played 4, and and then the remake of 3 was rumored, so I was like, I was gonna wait. I didn't play 3 portable, right? That came out on everything, and I was thinking, well, do I really want to play a remake of 4 because I just played 4? But after I played Persona 3 Reload, I was like, nah, give me a Persona 4 in that quality, that visual style, that quality of life improvements, just better combat in general. Like the combat in 3, what they improved was better than 5 in my opinion. Right? Like they added stuff from that and then took it a little further. And if they take inspiration from Metaphor, maybe add some even more to it. I cannot wait to see what they do. And I know like 1 and 2 would be even really cooler, but like that's a lot more work. So I don't know. I don't expect that from them like for a while.
Yeah.
There was sorry, one more thing. Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
There's one thing on the BBC news today about how Sega is legitimately mulling over a Netflix-style subscription service,
right?
Like the entire,
wow,
and a selection of the Sega back catalogue. I mean, I don't know why this isn't across all platforms now. Anyway, particularly Nintendo. Since the Wii Virtual Console, everyone has gone, "Why are you selling these? Just make it a subscription service." So hopefully that's what we'll see in 2025. Someone will go, "Oh yeah, here's all our games, £6 a month, play them all."
Yeah. But they should also sell them digitally, right? Like I want to be able to just buy them. And Sega was actually really cool about that on Steam, right? A lot of the Sega Classics collection, like were on Steam, and you could just buy those classic games. I mean, Shining Force 1 is like infinitely accessible everywhere. Like I could buy it on my phone right now. Play Shining Force 1. It's a great game. It's awesome. But like, we want more. Give us more, please.
Yeah, but they've delisted a load of things recently, so and this is why everyone's talking about this, because they've taken all these original ones and
they're putting it on subscriptions.
They're gonna put it on their own thing.
Now we know why things are being delisted.
Well, that and they did with Sonic, they delisted the original Sonic Generations because they wanted to sell you the new one because they know they want you to pay full price compared to $20 or whatever was on Steam. But like Carl brought up stuff with the PlayStation doing that. One of the nice things too is if you bought some of those games on PS3 or on the PSP or even Vita, you got them. You don't have to be on premium. If you bought Resident Evil 2 on PS1 on one of those digital platforms, they give you the PS4 or PS5 version. You just go download it, which is a really nice thing. And Nintendo, Nintendo, I hate their strategy. It's
the worst.
We will give you games when we feel like it. Be grateful. Even though you're paying us a subscription either every month or yearly, and then with like when they launched the N64 emulation on that was so bad, and that was they went upcharged you. Yeah, it may be the cheapest out of all three companies get big company subscriptions, but you're upcharging. You don't have a good quality right yet, and it's not like you have to verify so many times with the Nintendo Online to get it so you can play them offline, which is ridiculous. It's like, Nintendo, I've been giving you money for years on this subscription. You can't throw me any kind of bone I have to I buy it because I want the online and and the thing I've always wanted is the cloud save because I've had time where game saves corrupts or whatever, and I can just go back and restore an old save.
Yeah,
But
people seem to be afraid
Nintendo
of
music.
Yeah,
that's what you get. Like Nintendo music.
Absurd.
Come on, bro.
There's called YouTube at this point. I'm sorry. If I want to look up a song from a game, I'm just going to YouTube.
Put it all on Spotify. Why are we putting it on our own app? Like, what the hell are we doing, Nintendo?
Because Nintendo wants to get more money out of you. Remember, they made an alarm clock in 2024.
I know. People we brought up the Sega subscription thing, and people are worried that you're only going to be able to access those via subscription, right?
Yeah.
But where are people freaking out about Nintendo doing that right now, right? You cannot buy those games on Nintendo Plus. Like, you have to have the subscription service. And I just don't want that. There might be 1 or 2 games I want, and I might just buy them outright if you let me, but you won't let me. You won't take my money for some reason. I don't know why. Just refuse.
Reoccurring revenue.
That's the thing. They know that Nintendo knows they can get you in. That's why they throw the certain things for the higher tier to be like, you do this. We'll give you the Mario Kart Booster Pass, even though 80% of you already have it. But for that small bit, we'll get you in. And you're like, I don't want to lose this because I've got tournaments. I'm playing this and playing that. They just know they can get you in. And with that low price, they've got you hooked. And you look, crap, this charged my credit card. I meant to unsubscribe. Oh, well, I've got it for another year.
Yeah. So, Dan, we going to get a Resident Evil 5 remake this coming year?
Oh my God, they're going to, and that's the worst one. So,
it is the worst one.
I like that game.
I don't know if 5 is the worst. Have you?
No, I think maybe 6 is.
6.
Yeah.
6 or 0.
That'd be why. Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah, sure. Make them all. Whatever. Or make make some of the smaller ones. I want to see I don't know. I'd quite like a remake of. Yeah. That'd be bold. That'd be bold. They've got to get rid of that stupid 2-player mechanics. Yeah, Veronica's the one I want. That'd be very cool.
Yeah, Code Veronica.
Everyone says Code Veronica. I played that game a couple of years ago because they dropped it on it was Xbox Live Gold, right? Before that died. Okay. And I was like, I love Code Veronica. Let me replay Code Veronica. And you know what? Good game, but one of the most Resident Evil games. It is very straightforward, exactly what you expect Resident Evil. It's doing some cool stuff, but really the only thing that was cool about it, or really revolutionary back in the day, was the first fully 3D environmental Resident Evil.
Dino Crisis.
Ooh. Yes.
Remake Dino Crisis.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah.
Hey, X-Pac, not to cut. I do have to head out, but I wanted to.
Okay, Cog. Yeah,
it's cool. I wanted to shout you out and shout out the team and Arena 200, man. That super impressive, and want to send some love, and also maybe in the area. The Lords may be in the area this year. This is the year we're looking like we're doing TGS, and hopefully it will be awesome. If we could link up with anyone in the area and stuff like that. So I know we will need the help. Let's just say that. Navigating and
definitely
do that stuff. But this is the year we plan on doing it. But I want to say congratulations. Love the platform. Love the discussions. This was a lot of fun. Congratulations, 200. Round of applause for yourself. Everyone.
Yes.
That's nothing. That's a huge milestone, and nothing not to sneeze that. So I want to give you the flowers.
Yeah, thanks, Cog. I really appreciate it. And I know we're going to be working again in 2025. And hopefully we can get some of your other crew like King and Sovereign and Addict to come over here on the show as well and get their input and stuff. And just love having you on. And we're really looking forward to talking with you and doing stuff with you in 2025. And thank you so much for coming on. And I know you and Maddie and everybody out there are so busy putting out other content. Totally understand that, but thank you so much for taking some time to come and be with us. Really appreciate it.
Likewise. Enjoy your day, everybody. Enjoy. Again, congratulations to them.
Yes. All right.
Thank you very much.
So Lord Cognito from the Iron Lords podcast and Last Stand Media. So it's good stuff. So go and check him out. There's his website, lordsofgaming.net. You can go and check him out there. So All right. So, lady, we got a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to Persona.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And when it comes to
love
Metaphor.
it. Yeah, yes.
So good
My
stuff.
new favorite game, actually, for me
Yes.
personally. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's my new favorite game.
Yes. So the state of Atlus, and I just want to get your thoughts on Metaphor Refantasio. I know Carl, he's got a ton of questions for you because he was playing the hell out of that, and of course Persona 3 Reload. But
Sure, yeah.
it was such a great year for Atlus, and of course Metaphor Refantasio winning, of course, best RPG, best narrative at the Game
Yes.
Awards. It was really, really cool for them to get that. So my first question before I throw it off to the rest of the crew, lady, and thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So it's really
thank
great
you
to
for
have you.
inviting me. I'm glad I could join, Yeah.
Yeah. So my question to you is, how with Persona 5, and Burley loves to say this a lot, that Persona 5 gets milked with a lot of different content and to keep it going from year after year after year. Are we going to see the same with Metaphor Refantasio? Do you think we're going to get extra content for this moving forward into the next few years? What are your thoughts on that?
I actually haven't really thought, weirdly enough, too much about if it's gonna get the Persona treatment of spin-offs. I feel like maybe there might be DLC added of I don't know, maybe they'll create different timelines or something. Because it feels like there's not as much to do in that world as there might be with Persona casts. I don't know. I just feel like my not my understanding, more the gist that Katsura Hashino and his team give me now that Metaphor is out, I get a feeling that they'll probably want to experiment with maybe more and more different kinds of projects than just doing a lot of spin-offs in the same cast or the same world as much kind of thing. I don't know. That's the feeling I get from them. More so.
I do hope Metaphor becomes a franchise, right? I mean, I think pretty obvious they'll probably make a sequel, right? But actually, I had a question for you, because I have one character in mind that I would love to be involved in a side story, a spin-off, whatever. Kind of like how Aegis is the main character in the DLC for Persona 3 Real, right? And that's Katharina.
Oh, okay.
Right?
No, she could. I could. Sure, yeah. I could actually see some of the other followers maybe getting their own spin-off DLC, because I think the direction that at least Sega sounds like they're pushing all the other publishers, including Atlus, they're pushing them more towards the DLC route of adding story, kind of how I guess the Yakuza games, from what I understand, are more like that. If they do, it's not always, though, to be fair, I guess they do have their spin-off games that. Isn't there some Majima pirate game coming out soon or something? So it is true. I guess they do have their spin-off games, but I do think that I think Judgment was the one that has DLC added
Lost Judgment. The sequel.
right.
That has a DLC for cases, and then has a story DLC that kind of continues a little bit from it with the other character.
Okay,
and the high school students. That
is really cool. I think that's a smart way to go about it. I do like the idea of maybe a Katharina. I would play a DLC. I would buy a DLC of her. I just think that I think they might see the way that people react to all of the Persona, especially, right? The royal version or the golden version, the treatment that all those older games have. And I just, at the very least, I think the DLC route is in my head a little bit more maybe what they'll try to do with Metaphor. Even though like it will be cool if they make it a franchise, I think they might stick to like DLC first maybe to test it out. I don't know. I will buy more. I will buy more of anything though, honestly. Of Metaphor, whether it's like a new game, a new spin-off, or just like the DLC stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see them doing a lot of DLC for this, as well as additional content. You know, because Persona 5 was so successful, and Metaphor is, you know, following suit, I think, with this. So,
yeah.
Good stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Carl? Go ahead, lady. Yeah.
I was going to say one more thing. Like, I'm pretty sure Katsuda Hashino has already said that he's, like, working on, like, the next project already. So, like, we don't know what that is. But, yeah, I wonder what that is. If that's, like, in the same Metaphor world or something completely different. But, yeah. It just... He's already working on it, so...
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Carl, I know you had some questions for Lady pertaining to Persona 3 Reload. So, why don't you throw those questions out?
Oh, well, I did want to mention that I watched your video where you took all the feedback from your audience and ranked all of the characters.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed
Thank you.
that.
Yeah, thanks for watching that one.
Yeah. I feel like my personal ranking aligned very well with the ranking that you came up with from the audience. So that was awesome.
That is, yeah. I know. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
I was just going to say that, like, it's interesting that, like, some of my personal rankings were definitely a little different from the audience, but overall, like, it seemed pretty on par with, I feel, other popularity polls I've seen done in the past, or even by, like, some other creators. Like, I know that, like, Fither did a pretty big one, but that was, like, for the entire Persona cast. But, like, it was just interesting to see that, like, for the most part, the P3 one aligned a lot with, like, his, except for, I think, the thing that Reload did for, I think, Yukari especially. Not that, like, I've never personally had a problem with her in, like, the original, like, Fez version or anything. But I do think that compared to, like, previous, like, at least Western popularity polls of Yukari, she got, like, a lot more love this time. I think it is because of Reload.
What is the difference, if you could tell me briefly? Because I never played the original version.
Sure. So, like, the original is, I think the voice direction of her character was kind of tailored to more, like, I think what their understanding of what, like, a Western maybe popular girl, it's a very classic, like, American high school, like, popular girl stereotype, who's, like, she might seem a little meaner on the surface, but is actually really nice, or really, like, kind, or, like, likes people, like, in her own way. But it definitely struck me as, like, there's a lot of movies like Mean Girls and stuff like coming out around that time. I'm just like, okay, I feel like the voice direction made her seem a little bit more harsh than what the Japanese version was, where she is genuinely, like, she doesn't sound as callous, maybe, is, like, sometimes, like, because sometimes she does get right, like, she has, like, outbursts, but then she apologizes really quickly afterwards. No matter what the version is, it's just that, like, I think the original Fez version makes it sound a lot less, like, sweet, which is what her Japanese version always was. So Reload kind of leaned into that more.
Okay.
Like, they went with because you can compare, like, even the tone of, like, her original, Michelle Ruff, I'm pretty sure, was, like, her original voice actress for English. And then her new voice actor, which is Heather Gonzalez. Like it's just a completely different take. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like both. I like both for different reasons. Yeah.
She wasn't a character that I really like resonated so much with. I liked her backstory as they explained it. I feel like they never gave her enough depth because like the way that begins with her, with the whole like her struggling to basically shoot herself with the evoker, right? Like that felt very powerful. And then I feel like we never got any more moments like that for me with her character. But one criticism I have, I don't know if maybe wasn't brought up in all of your video there for Persona 3, was that I felt like all of with all the female characters, it feels like all of the, what am I forgetting, like not the bonds, what do you call it? Yeah, the bonds, right? Those social links. The progression of all of those all felt like bad dates, like a bad dating sim. Like they didn't tell as much of an interesting story for that particular character as they did in 4 and 5, and they probably just lessons learned or whatever.
I think it does come from the fact that like in the original Fez version is that like they were all automatically like romance routes. Like you could not turn down any of the girls. So it's just like I think they literally go on record like there is a interview from around that time, like 2008-ish or something, where they said that they genuinely were told that like no one would be able to finish all the social links. So they just assumed that someone would just like choose like which like love interest or whatever they like the most and just go with that. They didn't realize that they're like, oh, everybody is doing all of the harem. That's what they say. But there's a part of me that's just like, there were a lot of harem games out at the time too, though. So I don't know. To be fair, like the original Fez, it is very difficult. It's like probably the hardest Persona game to max all the social links on time. You kind of have to follow a guide. Like you kind of have to, or else you're not gonna make it. But yeah, I think the depth of the girl characters in their social links is not the same as in 4 and 5 because they wrote it more like they always had to think about like the romance in it first and not necessarily maybe making it an interesting story or link in general. Yeah.
So anybody else here have any questions about Metaphor or anything pertaining to Atlus, Aaliyah, or Burley? Anything? Yeah. Yes. Fubu, go for it. Yeah.
I always have something to say.
Yeah, I know you do.
Okay. My question is, because I'm not the biggest expert when it comes to Atlus, but I do understand their formula. And I want to ask you, do you think the Atlus formula would work in, let's say, in a space environment where they go, instead of going to town, they go to different planets and explore? Do you think something like that would work with the Atlus formula?
Like Star Ocean.
I think now that I've seen like how well they handled Metaphor, because it's not because Atlus, I think for so long has always been centered or like based in our own world, right? And then Metaphor is kind of like almost one of their first, or I feel like
fantasy
it was one
world,
of their Atlus, so like their first fantasy world. And like I feel like now that I've seen them create that kind of, it's enough lore and interesting like dynamics between like the different, like races of people or stuff like that. I feel like they could probably do something quite interesting if they wanted to do a more sci-fi world, because also a lot of their spin-off-y kind of games that I haven't really played too much of, but like there's like the Devil Survivor kind of games or that kind of thing. They have like, right? Like they have like that kind of like cyberpunk or like sci-fi sort of feel that I feel if they leaned into that more, they could do a successful like sci-fi based game. Just I don't know if when or like who would take that on. Maybe Hashino instead. He's like, I did a fantasy game and now I will do a sci-fi like space opera or something game. I don't know.
That would be. I think it would be a great challenge for them. I think because in my way, the way that I'm thinking, I would go like different planet, different culture, and then in one planet the day is longer, so you could do more things on that planet, and the other planet it's less time, so you'd have to be quicker. They could play with so many things. I personally think it would work personally, but I wanted the expert's opinion.
No, I'm no expert, but thank you. No, thank you. I personally think that's a really cool. Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. I would like to see Atlus try it.
Atlus, hire me fast.
Maybe because we still don't have many details yet about Persona 6. So maybe some type of elements like that could be implemented into it. So
that's true.
Yeah, I think probably because like compared to don't they always say what's that like actual theory of the concept called of like technology always increases at an exponential rate.
Right.
Moore's
so
law.
It's like yes, thank you. So it's like compared to when even Persona 5 came out, which was like 10 years ago now, right? But it's like almost 10 years ago now. But it's like compared to then versus like what we have now, because they didn't have like the chat GPTs and like the AI, like the generative AI and like how people are now like, oh my god, what's gonna happen with like all the jobs or all the like whatever different industries, how is this gonna affect them forever? And it's just like, I don't know, Persona 6. I don't know how much of that they're like factoring in because they've been working on it this whole time. But it's just like, we're getting to that point where like a lot of the sci-fi things that seem so far away, like maybe 15, 20 years ago, is like, well, it's kind of here now. So it's already getting to maybe a little bit of that point. We're just not in space yet, but like we have a lot of that tech.
Well, Fast and Furious got to space. I think Persona will get to space as well. So,
yeah, I mean it's they've been so secretive about this game, and the last time we had you on, lady, I mean we were talking about the carbon and most likely the game would possibly be in Nagoya, because of Toyota, and it could be a university or adult people in this game. We still, there's so much that we don't know yet. And so I'm starting to question whether or not we're going to get any kind of announcement in 2025 about this game.
I heard, I don't know, well, is it okay to like for me to kind of just throw out like what I've heard in the rumor mill?
Lady, this is episode 200. You can do whatever you want. It's awesome. Yes,
like
bring it out. Yeah.
I haven't like kept up with like the leaks or leakers as much this past year as I had in like years past. But like I've heard that like there were a number of people who said that even though people wanted it like a announcement for Persona 6 to come at the Game Awards, it's probably not going to be then. They said it's probably going to be for either like the Switch 2 announcement or some other like developers like show. But it's probably going to come. They said sometime like
Tokyo Game Show
spring of actually 2025. So pretty soon.
Spring.
Yeah. The thing that I've heard the most of was the Switch 2 announcement kind of thing. So
Switch 2 would be interesting.
Ultimately, we don't know.
I feel like with Switch 2, you still got Persona 3 Reload and Metaphor Fantasia like that aren't on the Switch, right? It's like when you're gonna reveal and show a launch library, like one of those has to be there.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like that might have honestly like this is like the sort of right, like the sort of conspiracy theory, like like it makes sense that they didn't release it on Switch because they might have been just developed and waiting for the Switch 2 to come out, right? So yeah, maybe like at the Switch 2 announcement thing, they'll be like, by the way, Persona 3 Reload and Metaphor will be available, you know?
Right.
Dang. Yeah.
Those seem like the obvious ones. I'm curious, like, what is Atlus's output going to be for 2025? Because, like, when you compare it to this year, I mean, you had Persona 3 Reload, you published Unicorn Overlord, right?
Yes.
You put out SMT 5 Vengeance on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, right?
Yes.
And also Switch, actually, because it is an improved version with extra content.
Yes.
And then you had Metaphor ReFantazio. I mean, that's an incredible year with a lot of output. Like,
yeah.
And yet we know nothing about next year from them. We don't know. Nothing official.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it, really, because it's just like even like again, like going into like the rumor mill or leaks wise, like no one really knows aside from like Persona 6 has got to come at some point, like an announcement probably like next year. There's it feels like there's no foreseeable way like they wouldn't announce it next year. But yeah, it's so true. Like we don't know what any of their other projects are right now. Like officially, at least.
If it's going to be a big event, it's got to be TGS. I think. I think they would show it there.
You know how I've said many times, TGS isn't big enough. It's just not. Like,
but for Asia,
like,
though, for Asia, it is. Yeah.
But
for
this
Asia,
is worldwide now, right? This is day one.
I do think that Sega has like considering like the worldwide thing. I feel like because Atlus was like is under Sega now, and they kind of really benefit from having like their parent company at this point, like their marketing. I feel like Sega. Like, have you noticed the amount of like very interesting collabs they have done for trailers for like Persona 3 Reload and SMT 5 Vengeance, right? And then Metaphor 2 is just like, wait, they're like collabing with like race cars and stuff. Like what? Like this is kind of interesting, but also just they're definitely considering, I think, at this point, the wider global audience than maybe just the Asia market that they usually cater to first in the past. So,
well, maybe Summer Game Fest. That's a possibility. Or like you said, maybe earlier if the Switch 2 is announced, maybe we'll get an announcement at that time. So,
I feel like whatever event lines up with when they're ready. So like Switch 2, Xbox thing, PlayStation thing, whoever, because it's going to get the attention no matter where they go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like don't you guys feel like they've done a really good job, like not just last year, like the amount of games, but also the way they announced it all? Like there was never really a huge wait for anything. It's like maybe 6 months or a year at most that they announced it, but then everything came out so quickly and on time.
Yeah.
And
because they're professionals, that they know what they're doing and when they are doing.
Now they are, yes, thank you. I think probably, they probably learned from the past that like, we got to step up our announcements and marketing timing.
Yeah, but they also do something very interesting that you had with the Persona 5, which they released Persona 5, then they released Persona 5 Royale, and they did like that little extra bit, the extra semester that they did, and that made, in my opinion, that gave them enough time so they could prepare the next, in this case, Metaphor, because that's the game that came after Persona 6, Persona 5 Royale. Just Metaphor, it gave them enough time. People were busy with that expansion, let's say, of the Persona 5 game, so they could prepare the Metaphor and then release everything on time and announce everything on time.
I think, from my understanding, though, like they're two separate studios within Atlus who were creating it, though. So it's like Metaphor was the Studio Zero.
Yeah,
so
Studio
it's
Zero.
Like, right. So then the P Studio is the Persona game stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do feel like, to be fair, like from a consumer perspective, like it gave us like the little tide over while the Hashino and his team, it obviously felt like it took a long time to get the metaphor ideas out and ready. So it's just like, that re-release did buy the Atlus fans time.
Expert, you know? She's
know.
she's schooling me. She's schooling me, expert.
So, Leah and Dan, you guys, I want to give you guys some time here if you have any questions for Lady regarding Atlus.
I mean, go ahead then.
No, after you.
I mean, I'm gonna say I'm just here nodding like the Madagascar penguins because I have not played any Persona game.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
sure.
when Persona 5 came out and they told me, "Oh, this is real life time," and I'm like, "What do you mean you don't sleep to play this game?" And frightened ever since. But I think like bullet points, like if someone never played any Atlus game, what is like the 3 key factors that can solve the game, and what game should you play first? Like, let's put it to beginners.
That is a good question for sure. I feel like I would actually ask the person like what kind of games or genres do they like to play in general, because for example, like if someone just really likes gameplay and is a little bit more like dungeon crawly heavy or just like strategizing kind of thing, I would actually like not as story based heavy, then I would actually point them more towards like SMT and like their spin-offs like Digital Devil Saga or the Devil Survivor games. But I'm like, if you like a really good story, if you are into like really solid characters, then that's when I would point them more towards like the Persona games, kind of thing. Yeah, and Metaphor, and now Metaphor. It's like if you like a solid like story, really nice characters, and also fun gameplay. The gameplay is fun. Then like Metaphor as well. But Metaphor is definitely more, I would say, like the Persona fan, maybe, than like the someone who's more like invested in gameplay-ish only. But to be fair, like Metaphor is like not as story heavy or long as Persona is. So it's like, and it has a pretty robust gameplay loop. There's a lot of customizable kind of things you could work out because there's so many classes. Yeah.
So Metaphor would be like a good entry point, and then from there.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it actually would.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, especially if you love turn-based games like Carl. Yeah. So So
yes.
definitely.
Yeah. That's a good question to start with. It's like, do you like turn-based games? If you don't, maybe Atlus games are not for you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Dan, anything you wanna throw at
Dan?
Lady?
Sorry, before you go, I gotta go. So it was a pleasure, Dan, to finally speak to you.
No, I'd love to meet you. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. After listening to you, from the beginning there. Lady Virgilia, it was great to finally talk to you for the first time. I wasn't here last time you were on.
Thank you. Yeah, it was so nice to meet you. Yeah, it was great chatting.
Yeah, Lady, you're getting a chance to meet the whole crew here this time. Yeah.
Nice.
So and Dan, he was my original co-host when we first started the arena. So
wow.
yes.
All those episodes ago. Wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, thank you both for coming on. It's awesome, and of course, the usual. I love talking to everyone here, and Expat, of course.
Yep.
Thank you. All the respect to you for keeping all this going.
Yep.
For all the work you do, making it happen.
Yep.
I mean, you're awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to January and getting the arena going in January and having you on board, man. So thank you so much for being a part of this with us.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Looking forward to it,
We'll
man.
see you
Yep.
all later.
Have a great
Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yes. Happy
And we'll see you in
holidays.
January, man.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Yes.
get that
Bye-bye.
kid. Always calling.
Yeah.
All
All right, take care, Carl. Yep.
See
We'll see you in
Bye, Carl.
2025, man. All right.
Yeah. everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, take care.
All righty. So Dan,
Yeah.
anything you want to throw
I
at
have.
Lady Virgilia? Go for it, man.
Yeah. Why bother making a Persona 6 when 5? I don't know where you can go because 5 was flawless. It was everything about it was laser focused. It was they had such a clear direction. It was effortlessly cool from the second you put the disc in, turn the machine on. It was just so effortlessly cool. The
Stylish,
art direction,
yeah.
the music, everything was laser focused. It was all just so synchronous. It was just so amazing. Like, why even bother making a 6? Because it can only disappoint.
I mean, I'll actually, to be honest, I think the Persona games, the reason why I like to make so many videos on them personally is because I think especially Persona 3, 4, and 5, the original versions, they just have such a cohesive, the genre of music that they chose for that particular entry, and then the story, the thematic, the color scheme, and everything that goes into each one of these games is just so cohesively Persona 4 has such a unique identity. Persona 5 has such a unique identity that I feel like Persona 6, as long as they keep up the whole we're gonna tie whatever genre we decide to do now. Maybe it's some kind of weird EDM techno stuff now because it's gonna be more whatever. I don't know what they're gonna choose. Because they've already kind of done a lot of the other ones. They've done jazz, they've done pop, they've done rap/rock kind of stuff. So it's what are they gonna do now? Who knows? But as long as I feel just tailor that singular game like Persona 6 to a very cohesive thematic, then I feel even if it might not be the same kind of style as Persona 5 is, it's still going to be its own unique take and be that thing of I didn't know I needed this, but I needed it, right? I feel like Persona 5 was like that for a lot of people, right? It's just I didn't know I needed this stylistic choices, but it works so well and I'm so drawn into this game. So yeah, who knows? I hope it doesn't disappoint.
I don't know how they can top that. It was just wild. I don't know. Maybe. Do you ever worry that it might get a bit formulaic, like the way all the Persona games are? Or is that the appeal? I don't know. Maybe that's what everyone likes about it. It's fitting things around your life, all that stuff. How the game works.
I think that's actually, I'm gonna be honest. I think that's actually part of the appeal for people. I do get that, the mechanics feel very samey and similar as you continue to play. It's one of those things where it's I can understand why someone wouldn't play Persona games back to back because otherwise it's very similar style and formulaic in that way, even though I do think each one, 3, 4, and 5 uses maybe the social links, for example, in different ways to each other. But yeah, I feel in general people like that that flow. I think people really like the flow of the social sim element. I've heard that a lot about a lot of Persona fans who unfortunately they just can't get into Persona 1 and 2. They say I've tried to play it, but I can't play it because the mechanics are so different. There's no social sim element. They say I really like the calendar system or the doing those really repetitive what task do I do today, So yeah, I think that's part of the appeal, personally, for a lot of people.
Okay. Cool.
Could you imagine, lady, that if Persona 6 is announced and the characters that we are not expecting are most of the characters from Persona 5 and just a little bit older?
That would be a little bit. If that happened, I would hope that would be in like the context of, hey, there's people who are kind of like maybe mentors-ish or something,
Right.
but they're not going to play like a huge role, right?
Yeah, like a side role, yeah.
Yeah, like a side role. Because if that's the case, that would actually be very cool. Like that would be because that's kind of the appeal of, like, a lot of people say Persona 2, they like the story of the duology because there was like or Persona 1 and 2, I should say, because let's just say you see characters from Persona 1 play a pretty big role in Persona 2. They're not like it's not too much that like they completely dominate over like the new characters or cast, but it's so cool to have like someone from the past return and play like maybe half of the story there with you.
Yeah, like
It's
Joker
so cool.
returning for 6 and doing something, yeah.
So it would be cool to see. That's something that like the Persona spin-off games actually went into a little bit more. It's called like the Shadow Operatives, are like previous Persona 3 and 4 cast members who like continue to keep up with the shadow activity in the world, I guess you should call it. And it would be very cool to see, like some kind of Persona 5 or even Persona 3, 4, and 5 all together.
Exactly.
Like maybe, like I think the best way to balance it right is maybe only take 1 or 2 at most from each cast and bring them back in. Not like the whole cast, right? Yeah.
That'd be tough, yeah.
So someone like Mitsuru from Persona 3, she's obviously very invested from the spin-off game. Someone like her, if she returns, Persona 5, like, I don't know, maybe people really like Futaba or Makoto. Yeah, like,
Makoto,
you know, bring one of them back. So, yeah, that would be cool.
Interesting, yeah. Burley, any thoughts on Persona 6? Any questions for Lady V?
For Persona 6, like, I'm very interested to see what they'll do. Like, for me, I've tried 5. I could not get into 5. Like, I got so far, but the social link stuff and just the really repetitive, it just gets to a point that, like, no, but I love 3 Reload. I did 3 Reload. 3 Reload is a much more streamlined focus. Like, I know people don't like the whole thing of you go back to Tartarus 50 times because you got to slowly climb up that one main dungeon. But I love 3 Reload. It was a much more streamlined
That's so
game.
interesting. Yeah,
and you can beat it in like 40 hours. It's not too long. I know I'm more the minority on that. Like, I'm sure 6 will be good. It ain't gonna beat 5 soundtrack because that is a hard like. I'll eat my words. Like, if I am wrong on that, and in the soundtrack to 6 it is better than 5, I'll eat my words and admit I'm wrong on that. I just can't see that coming. But do you think for like some stuff for 6 that I would love to see is like, okay, you've done if you do the palace early because you're on a lower difficulty, or you just know what you are, you know how to use the type advantage and changing the personas and the elemental weaknesses and all that, and changing around. I would love because that was one thing with 5 is I beat the palaces quick, and then I gotta just wait 20 days. I'm just hitting the X button on the PlayStation like 30 times in a day, in the in-game day, just to get through some of the stuff. Do you think like I said many times, like I would love to just say, here, press this button. You can skip to the change of heart, skip all these days, so that way you
I think so.
Link.
I think they are like I think a lot of developers in general are trying to make like their games as accessible to like the most amount of different kinds of players possible. And so like when you bring up how like I guess Persona 3 Reload had that big like you could like skip ahead like fast forward right through a lot of that stuff. And so it's just like, yeah, I think like for players like you who like maybe like if this just isn't the social sim part is not the like fun or the draw part of the game. I can't see them like not implementing more of those options to just like fast forward or skip because I do think they realize that a lot of people do like just the gameplay aspect or just like the very main story aspects of the game and not necessarily like the side stuff. So yeah, I feel like that's probably something they're considering because I also think about there's like other not like JRPG-esque games. One of the games I was like thinking about was like a lot of the Hoyoverse like gacha games and stuff in general, like they actively say they take inspiration from like Persona, for example. And a lot of people do complain when they don't have the ability to skip through those stories and stuff. So I think like for certain events they started implementing that, and it's just like it got a lot of good feedback. So it means that like everyone gets to play the game how they want to. Like people who are in it more for like gameplay aspect can play it that way.
Nice.
That's a good point, Burley. Yeah, I didn't realize that, but there are times when it feels like maybe the game's underestimating you. Yeah, because I find myself in a similar position where you kind of ran through a lot of things and you were, but I didn't find it boring. But now I think about it now. There were times I was like, I could just do this now.
Like, yeah. Well, there's parts in 5, and it's like the plot just stops because you, like the like before you get to one of the palaces, you're just sitting there, killing time, and it's like, okay, I don't mind doing this for 1 to 2 in-game days. When you got to do it a week straight, it's like, okay, like some of these times on these games take me months because they're length, and I want to feel like I'm accomplishing something. If you get, let's say you get an hour session, sometimes that's all I can get, and you just spend doing all this crap, you feel like you have not, like some of the social stuff I like, don't get me wrong, you get great moments, but some of it is just like, okay, I'm gaining nothing. I'm just seeing a thing. Affection slowly go up.
Yeah.
It's like I have better uses of my time.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I feel like Metaphor was an interesting like speed up of that too. Like it was like the perfect balance between like the character party stuff. But like not too many calendar days, right? Like what now there's like 25 calendar days in between stuff. Like it wasn't like that. So yeah.
Okay, final question for you, lady. Was Metaphor Ray Fantasio better than Astrobot?
I feel really bad for saying I don't play too many platformers or anything anymore, so I didn't play Astrobot. I don't know how good or bad Astrobot is.
But we know it's not. Jeff Keighley said. Jeff Keighley knows games. He's king of games now. I actually hate that guy.
Don't tell that to.
About Yu-Gi-Oh.
Don't let the Muppets, explain everything. That was the best part of the Game Awards was the Muppets part. That was so good.
Oh my god. I feel like at the very least, I'll just say I am so glad that a DLC did not win. That would be awful precedent.
Yeah, we're all in agreement then.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's now that it was nominated, now it's going to become precedent unless they come to their senses. They come to their senses and they make a DLC of the year category, which they should have done in the first place. Yeah. So
please. From
mean,
next
yeah.
year onwards.
But shout out to Team Asobi and of course the Astrobot team. And actually, Burley had a chance to meet them at the Game Awards. He was at the Game Awards.
Cool.
So
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's awesome! Wow.
Yeah, they were very nice, very approachable people. They were just, they had, the nice thing is like, the one lady, she had a dress and it was all just mini Astrobots, the whole dress.
Oh my
And like
God,
the guys had like ties that had Astrobot. They all had little Astrobot pins on them. They were very
That's
nice people. Like I just went up to the one guy because they were signing stuff and stuff like that, and I was like, congrats on being nominated for Game of the Year and making an awesome game. It's my Game of the Year, and just thank you. And I asked the one guy, I was like, hey, can I get a photo? And he's like, yeah, because I didn't want to bug them all. And then
Here
he
it
was like,
is.
yeah,
Here's the photo
"Let me
right
get
here."
the team."
That's a great
guy-
photo. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was taken at the Marriott right across from the Peacock Theater there. Like we saw quite a few people there. Like there were a lot of people. I saw a good chunk of Rebirth's cast. I got to say hi to the director of Rebirth, but he was just running. He had to get to a lot of places.
Sure
Yeah.
people are super busy.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
so great. You could get a picture then. With
yeah.
them. Yeah.
yeah,
Is
he
that
also
the
got a.
first time you've been? Have you been to
Yeah.
the Game Awards before?
I have not.
wow.
I've not. I got convinced to do it, and I went on vacation last week and went. It was just a
Oh, that's
great,
so
great
cool.
time. Great weather in LA. I wish I had that weather right now because I'm out here in Canada and it's snowy, it's cold, and
Awesome.
I miss 23-degree weather.
Yeah, he also got a photo with Mark Cerny too. So
Yeah, I got to chat with him briefly, but he was asking me for directions. I'm like, I'm the worst person. I'm like Zorro from One Piece with directions, and he's asking for a hotel that I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I'm sorry. I wanted to tell him, but I was like, thanks. And I was like, he was able to get a picture. He's like, quick, I can't stay long. No problem.
Sure. You're also like, I don't even live here. Sorry, dude. Like, I'm also
I flew
just
in here a
visiting.
couple days
Yeah,
ago.
like-
This is my first real time in this LA live area.
yeah.
That's awesome, though. Yeah, that sounds like an awesome experience.
All right. Yeah, good. It was for Burley for sure. Yeah. So hopefully.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he'll get a chance to come out here to Tokyo Game Show. Yeah, at some point. Yeah. So Dan and I, we've had our excursions. We went once together to Makuhari. Yeah. So that was pre-COVID when there was like 20,000 people on the public day. That was a mess. Yeah, my son was still like in elementary school at that time, and I remember having to almost literally drag him after about 6 hours walking around the showroom floor there. Yeah. So, yeah.
Good.
Wow. It's kind of crazy how certain just events in general are like, it's weird how some have grown a lot, like post-COVID, but then a lot of the like the announcement shows and events are not as big from what I understand now, like post-COVID, because like people got used to announcing mostly online, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I would prefer a business day any day over the public day, though. I mean, if I get a media pass,
you can apply.
Since we have the podcast, I mean, we can apply for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It used to be super easy back in the day. Oh yeah, I've got a podcast, I've got a blog.
Yeah.
Here's your media pass.
Yeah,
right on.
Yeah.
Just
So
buy it.
yeah, because the public days are a mess. Yeah, it's crazy.
They suck.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, I can only imagine. Oh.
20,000 people. It's like when Dan and I went. It was like 20,000 people, shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, it was crazy.
8-hour queues for every game.
Oh yeah,
everything. Even
8-hour
track.
queues.
FIFA. It keeps 6 hours to play FIFA. No.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that was the year, Dan. I think that was the year Battlefield 4 came out, and it's like all those people. 8-hour queues, man. It's crazy. Yeah.
And Kojima was there giving a talk on something or other. And
Yeah.
It's good.
So. All right, so let's move on. So, Lady, I hope you could stay for one more segment with us, talking about our resolutions and goals for 2025. And maybe, lady, I know you got your YouTube channel and got stuff. Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about what you might be working on in 2025 when it comes to Persona games, or what you're doing on your channel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, thank you. This is such a nice little way to end this segment. This is a nice segment in general. I feel like my main goal is that I just want to finish doing all of my character-focused videos on Persona 4. That's probably my main goal. I have like two left. Oh my goodness. I have Yosuke, and then of course everyone will love the Adachi one. That's gonna be the big
Good
one.
stuff. Good stuff. Yeah.
But like in general, I am kind of hoping for that like Persona 6 announcement at some point, because that gives me some content, some additional content, ideas and everything.
Additional content for the next few years at least.
For the next few years. No, interestingly enough, like I think maybe for the rest of 2025, I'm considering like going more into like the Yakuza games, because feels like there's a fair amount of interest or overlap, especially because they're both Sega games now too, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
what did you think of Project Century? They showed it at the Game Awards. It's like a Yakuza game based in 1915 Japan, like Taisho era Japan. It looked pretty interesting, and it kind of gave me Sleeping Dogs feels to it.
I'll be completely honest, I feel so bad. I didn't watch the entire game.
Okay.
I kind of missed it. So I didn't know that this is a thing, but this sounds interesting.
Yeah, it has me intrigued.
What was it called? Project Century?
Project Century, yeah. So Ryuga Gotoku is working on it, and it probably is not going to come out this coming year. I would say maybe 2026, but yeah, that and what was it? The Virtua Fighter is also coming. Yeah, from them. So yeah, I'm excited for it. And maybe it's a Yakuza origin story. Who knows? Kind of like the next Mafia is going to be like an origin story in Sicily. So maybe Ryuga Gotoku's doing like a Yakuza origin story version. Yeah. So yeah.
$50.
Cool.
$50 says they find a way to shoehorn Kazama Kiryu into that game.
They'll do it. They will.
$50. 50
no bet on that.
He's going to be in there some way, somehow. They'll find a way.
Yeah, and then they'll put like the Taisho era garb on him and everything.
Yeah,
so
sure. Why not?
For sure, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
But anyway, go ahead.
You get that free with the deluxe edition.
Yeah, that's right.
The deluxe. Oh no.
Yeah, digital deluxe edition for sure. Yeah. So go ahead, lady. And any when it comes to resolutions, any kind of games that you do want to try playing in 2025?
Ooh, I definitely feel like. Well, I don't know when the Okami 2 is coming out.
Oh yeah. Probably not.
Probably not next year.
No, not next year.
Away.
I will put the $50 that Dan is putting on the Project Century. I'll put $50 on that. That's not coming next year. Probably 2027, I'd say, somewhere in there. Probably.
Okay.
Because they just announced it at the Game Awards, and it was like, what was it, Burley? Like a 10-second teaser.
Oh yeah. It was a 10-second. Flash the logo.
Yeah, tiny teaser. Yeah, it wasn't. It's true. It wasn't like a very robust kind of trailer or anything.
Yeah. So Kamiya-san, he's going to take forever on that game. I'm sure. So yeah.
But I guess then I don't really. Yeah, I feel like I'm probably just going to play. I'm weird. I'm like weirdly enough. I'm usually like I play stuff by ear when it comes to like games. Maybe I'll try to get into like Xenoblade. I know a lot of people, have like wanted me to get into just like playing that for a while, for a long time now.
They're great. They're great games with great stories.
Yep. And I'm sure you could play it day one on the Switch too.
Well, yeah, well, like all three Xenoblade games are on the Switch, and then you have Xenoblade Chronicles X, which was one of the few Wii U games that hasn't been ported to the Switch.
I
Now
actually
getting ported.
do have the Xenoblade Definitive thing on Switch. I got it on one of the like holiday sales. I think like a long time ago at this point, like 2 years ago at this point or something. But I'm like, yeah, probably. I feel like out of any of the games, I'll probably try to play that one sometime next year. Yeah.
Nice. Dan, what about you? Resolutions and gaming and goals for next year?
So on my tragic YouTube channel, I'm going through the entire Densha to Go train sim
Oh,
series.
you're doing that again. All right. Densha to Go.
I'm trying to, my goal is to have one video a month.
Are you still doing the Yamanote line?
Loving it. Yeah. So I'll be doing that. Maybe, I don't know, try and have more of a finger on the pulse of modern stuff. I don't know. Just play a lot and just play a lot on the Mister. That's my resolutions for the year. Just get into that old stuff. And just keeping up with the exclusives. It's kind of annoying me that there's so many games. They keep bringing out these remasters and remakes, but it's all digital only. It's annoying me because I want to build my collection. I want a Soul Reaver 1 and 2 physical, because the Soul Reaver 1 and 2 games are phenomenal. They're such good games, but it's freaking digital only. It does my nut.
Yeah.
So,
I prefer physical myself, so it is kind of sad whenever it's like.
Yeah.
I wish like Steam or PC would still like, I don't know, have like some kind of, I don't know, like physical version you could buy.
That'd be nice. It would be great.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah,
seems
give it a few months limited run, Will, because they know there's the market. I don't like I don't like limited run, but all these like games like this, the Tomb Raider and stuff like that, that's it came physical there, and once these companies see the sales there, then they're like, oh yeah, we'll print physical.
Yeah, that's the worst case, because a lot of them. So some of them do come out. Like we have people in the UK who do the same sort of thing, like Aspia and other people do it. So, like limited run's the worst choice because they don't really ship and everything's in dollars. We've got to pay import tax and all that BS. So like limited run is like the worst option. Like, and I my heart sunk a few times now. I was like, it's getting a physical copy. Yay! It's limited run games.
No.
But then like things like Alan Wake 2 was never going to be physical. Like they said, like it's Alan Wake 2's digital only, and someone swooped in and went, "Oh no, we'll publish it." My hope is in that people will see, like, that there is a. But then 90% of games are digital now. 90% of purchases are digital purchase. So
Black
Myth
like me
was
it still is. Black Myth Wukong still is digital. I think the success of the game made
it's physical now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
I've got it physical.
So weird.
Like 6 months after it comes physical.
I think it was because of the game was such a hit, and people wanted some. That I'm pretty sure there's a base version, there's a collector's edition that comes with the Wukong statue. I'm pretty sure they're doing something like that. But Black Myth is one of those because it was a hit. If the game wasn't a hit, I'm pretty sure they're like, nah, we won't want to bother. Yeah, exactly. So, and Black Myth, it's one of those games. If they have a complete, I don't know if they release DLCs, because I think the idea would be to release DLCs, because there's like rumblings that the game was supposed to be 16 chapters or 21 chapters, something, and the game is much shorter than that. So they're saying there are rumblings that there's going to be DLC that will give you the rest of the chapters. So then maybe when they do physical edition, like let's say a Game of the Year edition, because they did win Game of the Year at the Golden Joystick. They do a Game of the Year version with everything packed in one CD. Then that I would do to have a collection. Because I know I'm full of good ideas today. I don't know what's happening. If you see the other shows, it doesn't go as good as this one. So
I wonder why.
I wonder why. I'm bringing the A game for the 200. That's it. I'm bringing the A game.
Thank you, Fubu. Continue.
So I would. No, I'm gonna say I'm behaving today, because when I misbehave, Burley here, he force chokes me a lot. So today, not today, Burley.
Reasonable.
So yeah, and I would definitely buy because I love the game so much. I would definitely buy to have it on my collection, the physical edition of Black Myth Wukong complete edition.
Nice. Leah, your goals and resolutions for gaming in 2025?
No buy year. My only exceptions are Civilization 6 or 7? 7.
7.
It comes out.
7, yeah. Looks good.
And
Yeah.
if Nintendo goes wild and gives me a new Animal Crossing, I'm banned from buying for the rest of the year. I have the PlayStation subscription, I have backlog games, Fubu lend me games, I have Elden Ring, Persona Reload. No,
No, it's the one. Oh god, the Tactics one, the Tactica.
Ah,
Oh, Tactica. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Tactica, yeah.
I love that game.
Tactica.
That game is so good.
That's
Yeah.
fun. That's a really fun gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, that's it. Just gotta be responsible, because someone has to be again.
Understandable.
Look, she's saying this because this year she went to Taylor Swift concerts, to Olivia Rodrigo concerts. She went home. She's broke.
Oh, Ticketmaster. Yeah, no, that's so
Cool.
So
Cool.
understandable though. Yeah.
Okay. So
That's
I
awesome.
didn't
Though.
think
Fun. Yeah.
I didn't say my resolution. My resolution is next year to get better at EAFC. So in 4 years, I represent Portugal in the Olympics in esports. That's my objective.
go Fubu. We believe in
There you go. Yeah. All right.
So
Burley's like sitting there. He's like shaking his head. Yeah. So
Oh, he's
the
like,
force,
oh,
the force choke is coming soon, I guess. Yeah. So.
well, he stopped for a while with the AFC, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to play it." And then it
He
comes
played
out,
it.
and he's like,
Yep.
"Put 20 hours this weekend in."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up.
Yeah.
Not even Balatro can save him. He's a lost cause.
Yeah.
No, that Balatro was such a good game that it took my time out of EAFC. I played a lot of Balatro. I did like the normal difficulty. I did all the decks in the normal difficulty.
Nice.
Now I'm doing on the second difficulty because I would like to plat that game, but I think it's going to take a long time.
what's a roguelike?
Nice.
Those are never easy.
Yeah, true.
Burley, your turn. Resolutions, goals for 2025.
Well, other than the standard obvious of just keep working off on the backlog and not buying as many new unless I'm going to play it within that week or two weeks of it coming out. Mine is just keep track of the keep checking into the indie space and Kickstarter, because I am so glad. Like Kickstarter, I've kickstarted back quite a few games, and everyone, for the most part, the ones I've done, they've all been hits and great
like
games.
Sea of Stars. Yeah.
Yeah, Sea of Stars. That one was just so glad, and I cannot wait for the DLC next year.
Yeah.
Coming in that, just keeping on the content of those kind of games, because I'm finding so many with these indie devs and stuff like that, they're coming up with great new experiences. That they have stuff of old that you remember and you're loving. I love this. Why aren't other studios? Yeah, and they don't cost as much, and they have 100 times more heart and charm than any of these big games that coming out. Like, it's still funny to me that like Balatro, great game. It won a bunch of awards, got nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
That says that's a one dev guy, the game.
Yep. Just like Stardew Valley. Yeah. Stardew Valley.
Yes.
One person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is it? Another game that I'm looking forward to is the game that is coming out from the makers of It Takes Two, another co-op adventure.
That looks so good.
It looks very, very good. I'm really excited for that. So,
and I love that they're keeping up with the whole friend pass, so only one of you has to buy it.
Exactly.
And they're doing they do such a good thing like that. And because they come out good and they do stuff like that, more and more people buy it because it's so pro-consumer. They're not doing all this stuff to be like, hey, you got to give us all this money. No, they're making it.
Yeah.
They're giving you the value, giving you fresh, great, new experiences, and doing co-op.
Yeah.
Which
Yes,
sadly,
yeah.
at a lot of modern gaming is co-op
It's
is
so
just pretty much
sad,
dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss all of the co-op days.
Yeah.
The couch co-op days. But those are like
Oh,
good
those are the
little
best. Couch co-op is the best.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, It Takes Two won Game of the Year a few years back. So yeah, this one excited to see and play some of. So my resolutions are to actually play more games because I didn't get a chance to play many games in 2024 with all the YouTube creation. And of course, this channel is not only a video game related channel, it's also entertainment, sci-fi entertainment and pop culture related. So I'm super busy with pumping out content for the channel and getting stuff out, as Lady you can attest to.
It takes a lot of time.
It takes a ton of time and editing and everything, and getting it all up and out there for everybody, and then on social media getting everything out there for them. So but I did thank you. I did buy Rise of the Ronin though, because I haven't had a chance to play that, and I'm really looking forward to playing Rise of the Ronin because of the historical aspects of it. The Meiji period was about to start, so I'm really excited for that. And then when GTA 6 comes out, that's going to take up all of my time. It's because I love the GTA series. I put so much time into GTA 5 when it first came out, and I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I mean, to try more of the big games when they first come out, like Monster Hunter Wilds. I'll probably play that. I know Burley, you played the demo, so I'm excited to see what the full game has. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of the big games that come out. And maybe do some streaming and extra stuff for the YouTube channel as well to showcase some of these new games that are coming next year. So really excited for 2025. So
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So maybe I'd love to play Persona 6, but probably I don't think we're gonna get that next year. I mean, it would be a big surprise. That would be probably one of the biggest surprises of the year if it actually does come out next year. I think.
Like it's possible for it to come out in like the winter.
I'm gonna predict 2026 because of the 6. 2026. So,
and 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we shall see. But and I'll be getting a Switch 2, so enjoying the upgrade and playing some of the new games that come out on that. That's it for hardware, though. I won't be getting anything else because I've contempt with everything else I have. So probably Monster. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think the first launch title is going to be for the Switch 2? And I don't think it's going to be another Mario title.
Actually,
what do you think, Burley?
I think it would be.
I think it'll be 3D Mario.
Another Mario.
We haven't had one since 2017 with Odyssey. They've done
and that was huge, right?
Yeah. Oh, that was such a great game. So, people have been wondering, are we going to get an Odyssey 2, or are we going to get a follow-up to another, or a different one of the others? It's like
Galaxy 3.
Whether that's the thing, could be a Galaxy 3, or Galaxy 2 wasn't in that 3D All-Stars.
No, missing.
So you could do an HD version of Galaxy 2. They will have some kind of Mario. If it's not launch day, it'll be launch window within the first couple of months. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mario Kart 9 is a launch title, and if that comes out day one with the Switch, that'll be something I pick up. I don't think we're going to see Zelda for a while, unless it's some remake of another game. But you'll have your whatever the new thing with the Joy-Con, what other new gimmick. They'll have another 1-2 switch kind of game.
Yeah.
You'll have some smaller stuff. Whether or not you could like you get another Bomberman because that was one of the launch titles with the Switch was the Bomberman Ultra.
Maybe that new Metroid is going to be a launch title. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
If that is, I will play that day one on the Switch too.
Yeah, yeah.
for
Like
sure.
that's the thing. Like if that game, whether it's a launch title or launch window, like I love the Switch. Don't get me wrong, but that's Switch 2. I'm not playing that on the original Switch.
Yeah.
I would put my money on a Fire Emblem game. I would
Really? We had Engaged
Oh,
2 years
that's
ago. I
a
think.
good.
I would do that because they had a good formula. I didn't play the last one, I'll be honest, but Free House
Engage was really good. Engage was really good. Engage, I know people didn't like it as much, but I liked Engage because it was a more streamlined. It was because you don't have the three houses. You're focused on one way, but you do have all the choice, the sim stuff of your army and your encampment and the stories. Well, I would love if they're gonna do Fire Emblem, just port Awakening from the 3DS.
No. We need to stop that. We need to stop that. We need to
Hear
stop.
me out.
Sorry. Okay. Go.
Hear me out. Like Awakening is so good. You HDify that. Get with all the stuff. Like Awakening was the big Fire Emblem game here in the West. I highly like. It's it's my favorite of the series. I like Three Houses a lot, but Awakening's story is so good. You can finish it in 20 hours. It's a great runtime length and just all the stuff it offers.
Yeah.
The thing is, my thought on this, and I won't take long, is because it's a new system, you want to put new stuff. You don't want to rehash. If you want to get things from before, hey, I'm good for it because I like I was talking a Little Big Adventure. I liked it a lot. What they did with the Last of Us game is very good. I like all of these things. I like it. It's great. But because it's a new system, you have to get new stuff. It can be the same old IP, but with a new story. Because if you go and rehash, people are gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy a new console to play something with a fresh paint from like 4 years ago." That's what I don't agree as a launch title. Coming on the Switch, that's perfect because I would love to try that because it's been a long time since I played it. I do agree in that aspect. Not as a launch title. That I don't agree.
Okay.
Yeah. And then one last thing I just want to say about resolutions, in the games. Right now I'm still playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and I want to try to finish that going into the new year, so that be ready for all the new games that are going to start coming out early in the year. So. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It's very good. It's very good. I finally got out of Vatican City. I loved Vatican City, though. I mean, I loved there. So moving on to Giza now, moving on to Egypt. So, and to punch some Nazis in the face there. So yeah, go from punching fascists in the face to punching Nazis in the face. So. Looking forward to that, and I love the sound bites. I mean, straight from the movies, with the punches, and Troy Baker, his voice acting is amazing. He sounds just spot on with Harrison Ford. It's really good. But just it's a little nitpicky thing that just I have, and probably a lot of people wouldn't notice this, but. The actor who played Marcus Brody in the movies, Deemhome Elliott, the voice actor that portrays him in the game doesn't sound like him at all. But that's probably, people probably aren't going to, recognize that anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, the game is solid and I'm loving it. So, a lot of puzzles in the game. So, very, very Tomb Raider-esque when it comes to the puzzles, and very stealthy. It's got that Machine Games feel, and then it has that Dishonored type of vibe to it as well. So, yeah, it's good stuff. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So, good stuff.
That's good.
Yeah. All right. So those are our gaming resolutions and things we're planning to do in 2025. So now it's time to talk about our programming notes here on the Arena Productions. Of course, we are not only a video game related site, but we are also entertainment and pop culture related. So we put a lot of content out here on the Arena Productions. But first of all, one other bit of gaming news, of course, and video that Burley posted. So his, of course, take on the Astrobot DLC, the Winter Wonder gameplay. So Burley, you have a little bit to say about this video that you made for us here?
Yeah, so it's a short little video. I show me going around there and talking about some of the different things and what you can expect in this this level they added. So you've got some new collectibles, new costumes, and I'll spoil the one. As soon as you first get in there, they get a Sanem costume on Astrobot, and you're collecting
Nice.
presents stuff to get presents. So who doesn't want that? Oh.
Nice.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
You want that?
I love the winter levels or anything, so that's an awesome DLC.
Oh,
Cool.
if you love winter levels, you love holiday stuff. This is for you. They keep up the feeling, the tone with the game very well. Games mechanics, they use the power ups all well. Like you love Astrobot, and the nice thing is, just free more content they added into the game. These guys are not going the thing like if this was like EA or someone to be like, give us $10 for this level.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, here. You just download the small update to the game, the latest version. Voila, it's in the main world.
Fantastic. Yeah.
It's just
wow. That's great.
And that's right. And Dottie's right. Yeah, if you time it right, you can ride on the sleigh too. Yeah, there's a ton of content in this level. Like it took me probably about 45 minutes to get and do everything in there. So even though it looks small, there's a lot to do, a lot of fun. And if you're curious, you'll sit there and have a lot of fun. I think we know what Leah's going to do once this episode's done.
Ooh, I might have to pick up Astrobot. I'm tempted.
Oh, you should. You should, lady. It's an amazing,
Yeah.
it's an amazing game.
Did you play Astro's Playroom?
No, I haven't. No.
Play Playroom.
Yeah.
Playroom on the PS5. It shows you what the PS5 can do and what the controller, the adaptive triggers, and everything. Great. If you really like Playroom, which I believe you will, you pick up Astrobot. I paid full price for it. I can easily recommend it. Like I did with all the DLCs and stuff. It was 27 hours, but I had a lot of fun. And it's like whenever you fail in this game, there's no lives, but you're just like, oh man, I can do this one more time. So even on the harder challenges, it gets addictive to keep playing and playing.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. And next up on the entertainment side, I did a recap and review of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. So
What's that?
Episode 4. Never seen Skeleton Crew yet? It's
No.
it's the Goonies meets Star Wars. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, we sold it. I like Goonies.
Yeah, so Neil's Journey to Bravery. So check out my recap and review of the episode. So each week on Tuesdays on Disney Plus, you can check out Skeleton Crew. Yeah, so Jude Law is in it as well. So it's good stuff. And finally, the final episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 5, Episode 10. So titled The New Next Generation. So I did my recap and review of that. So amazing series, and it's come to a conclusion. So please go and watch the series over on Paramount Plus and check it out. If you haven't already, it's very, very good. And I think Burley can attest to that as well. So, some super stuff there. Great parodies on the Star Trek universe. So anyway, yes, Season 5, Episode 10, the series finale. So I did my recap and review of that.
Wow.
So it's good stuff. Yeah, so Lower Decks, man, it's got some really good stuff. And like throwbacks to like Enterprise, to Deep Space Nine, to Voyager, to all of the Next Generation series. So really good stuff.
Weirdly, sorry, this is like kind of off topic, but it reminds me I was just able to catch I think it was like on AMC or something, but it got onto Netflix. It's called like Pantheon.
Oh,
I think. Yeah, it's like a really I really recommend it. It's like a really cool like animated it's about like it's this concept or take on like uploaded intelligence. You know how we call like artificial intelligence?
Right.
It's like
yeah.
what most of like the sci-fi like whatever storylines are. This is about like people like uploading the mind into like the system. It was really good. I was so surprised. I was like, what the? How did this go? How did this go?
Yeah.
I guess it was because it was on a streaming service that like no one really used that much. I think it's like Showtime or something. But yeah, it's called Pantheon. I only watched the first season. I think only the first season is on Netflix, but it was really, really good. I was super surprised. It has like super amazing ratings. Like I think it has like a 9-star rating.
Oh, nice.
Like if you Google it, it's like everyone really loves it. So that's what convinced me. And I'm like, I'll watch it. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, one of my favorite series of all time on Netflix is sci-fi, series and deals with AI and deals with technology in the future. Black Mirror. Black Mirror is
Black
really
Mirror.
good.
Yes,
it's so good. Yes. Yeah. And I also have up here on the channel the Arcane season 2. I did my recap and reviews of Arcane, so please go and check those out. Oh, it's amazing! It's super.
Everybody talks about it all the time. It's like I gotta get it.
I thought it would win Best Adaptation, but the Fallout won for Best Adaptation at the Game Awards. But
That's good.
So it's amazing. Yeah, and I have Fallout recap and review episodes up for the first season as well. So please check
Watch
those
them, everyone.
out. Yes, so check those out. All right, so. Yeah. So, Lady and Dan, I want to thank you so much for coming in and joining us for the episode. Lady, thank you so much. And I'm really, really hoping that things, when it comes to your content in 2025, we're really, excited for that. And thank you so much for coming on. I hope you come on again at some point, especially when Persona 6 definitely gets announced. We'd love to have you on again talking about it and stuff.
Sure.
And,
thank you for everybody's super welcoming. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and your family as well, of course.
Thanks.
Yes, out there
everybody
in California
as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Very great holidays. Merry Christmas.
Yes. And Dan, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, from the very beginning, you were the one that inspired me to get back into video games such a long time ago, and and when I came up with the idea to do a podcast and you jumped in, I really appreciate that, and coming on and being with me for the first 44 or so episodes. That was a great time. Those Zencaster days,
I
boy.
remember.
The audio days. Yeah. But thank you so much, and thank you for coming on today. Really
it's
appreciate
been absolutely
it.
great. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to say hello to everyone and talk rubbish.
Yes, and not rubbish. Definitely, you got to come on again, especially when it comes to
500.
500, and for the retro gaming scene and everything else.
Sure.
So good stuff, man. So thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. And of course, Leah and Fubu and Burley, and of course Carl as well. I thank you guys so much for being with me each and every episode. Pretty much each and every episode. I know, Fubu and Leah are, busy as well. So, but well, thank you guys so much for being with me, and Burley especially. Each and every episode being with me. It's been an honor to have you guys with me and being on this ride, and looking forward to 2025 and beyond for the next 200 episodes. I'm really excited for it, and where this podcast can go. So so thank you so much.
Yes.
You.
Yeah.
And
and a warm holiday wish to all of our listeners, all of our viewers, all of our supporters. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all of you over here on the Arena Productions, whether it's for video games, whether it's for Star Trek content, Star Wars content, fantasy content, Marvel content, you name it. So we are here for you, and thank you so much. Yeah, we really appreciate you all. So it's good stuff. Yeah. Anything you guys want to say, Burley? Any last words before we sign out? Yeah.
Yeah, well, just a few quick things. Actually, huge thanks to Dan, because if it wasn't for Dan here, I wouldn't be here on the show as much and being a co-host, because it was Dan said to Expat, let's get this guy, let's get this guy in permanently. So, first of all, thanks. It's been nice talking with you, Dan, again.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, and no, it's been a great year doing this. I've had a lot of fun with everyone here. Thank you so much to all the guests, our regulars. Like we got Tuil here in the chat, Donnie. Thank you all so much. It's a lot of fun to do, and cannot wait to see what we get for gaming news wise in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fubu.
Thank you, Expat. Thank you for everything you did for us. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, hosting the show. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Leah,
look,
anything?
He doesn't want to say, but he puts a lot of effort. Like I said in the comments on the comment section a little while ago, what he does, the time it is for him, I would be sleeping. I wouldn't wake up. He wakes up, he cuts his sleep, and sleep is very precious for me. He cuts his sleep to give us the content. He prepares everything. Everything is always on point. When I say thank you, it's really from the bottom of the heart, and I know
Thanks,
I speak
man.
for a lot
Appreciate
of people. Because he puts a lot of effort behind the scenes. That it's hard. It's a passion project from us. It's a passion project, and we all try and pitch in. But he's the mastermind behind all of this. So again, thank you, Expat.
Oh, you're welcome. Much appreciated. Yeah, it's like I get up at 5 a.m. on Sundays to do this episode each and every week. So, I mean, but I wanted this to be a truly global podcast because I wanted to get perspectives on gaming from not only here in Japan, which of course this podcast is based, but also out in the West and out in Europe as well. So I wanted to have people on my show, co-hosts on my show that have a global perspective on video gaming, and so that's what we have now, and I'm really happy with that. So yeah, it's good stuff. Leah, anything you want to say before we finish?
I mean, we saved the best for last. I mean, the new for last, because I'm the new addition to this podcast.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. Like, I've never done a podcast before, so thank you for joining me and listening to me, even though I'm clearly the outlier in here. Just the Nintendo girl, the Animal Crossing girl, just living her best life.
Good stuff.
And thank you so much. And of course, appreciate the effort Expat does, because you're a beast. Like, I did not have the rhythm you have, and I'm like half your age. So round of applause for Expat.
You don't want to know how old I actually am, but
I mean, I'm rounding it up. How we're gonna know?
Yeah.
So it's I just thank you everyone for hanging out with us. Thanks for everyone who listens. It's been fun. 200. Yeah. I'm rambling because it's 1 a.m. But let's go. Enjoy our holiday.
Yeah. So, lady, what's your cat's name there? What's your kitty?
Sorry, he's.
No, it's okay. Attention. Yeah, my two cats, Thomas and Kitty, they're in the living room, so yeah, they're probably sleeping now. Yeah, when I do the podcast, I got the door closed; they're not coming close.
Sure. Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so that's gonna wrap it up. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you. We will be back in January. So our first episode of 2025 will be on January 11th. So that's Saturday, January 11th. So we're going to take a nice little break here. Of course, I'll probably be doing some other content stuff and getting stuff prepared for 2025. But yeah, we'll be back in January. So we look forward to seeing you all then. And we'll keep you all posted about everything that's going on. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And to end our show, like we do each and every week, our Indie Recording Artist Spotlight. So each and every week we do a spotlight on an indie recording music artist and have an outro to end the show. So this week's spotlight is on Duff Music. Duff Music has produced music embedded with his trademark smooth, vintage, authentic soul and R&B motifs. Collaborating with some of the best international soul and jazz musicians, His polished, cool style and sweet compositions are lush with warmth and groove. From his album titled 6 Strings of Winter Joy, and the song is called Deck the Halls. So this has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 200. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleman Gaming, Turn-Based Carl, Fubu87, Leah the Hatless, our full crew, of course, and, of course, our special guests, Dan, my original co-host, Lord Cognito, another shout-out to him, and as well as Lady Virgilia. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it so much. So anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will see you all in 2025. Peace out.
Merry
and enjoy
Christmas.
the outro. Yes.
Bye. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.